World-Defying Dan God Chapter 4821, Creation Saints. Before Chen Shang in the Hall of Fate and Soul, he had seen the ancestral source of the world being able to give birth to a human form. So he subconsciously felt that there was a cloud of white mist in front of him, exuding the breath of the ancestors of the world, and there was a figure, maybe it was nurturing human beings. He continued to approach the past and found that there were other people here, but fortunately he was already invisible. The other party has found that someone is approaching, so he also began to hide in the white mist. Who the is he? Could it be that Guiyuan heretic god is also a failure? But the aura doesn't look right. Chen Shang secretly said in his heart. Chen Shang hid well, his breath gradually weakened, and in this white fog area, the power of creation was tyrannical, it was even more difficult for the other party to find him. Call. Suddenly there was a whistling. The white mist gathers inward, as if being swallowed and absorbed by something in the middle. In the blink of an eye, the white fog in a large area was gathered together, forming a light group in the middle. There is someone in the light group. That person suddenly rushed out, naked, a bald young man with a burly body, but a very handsome face. After this young man rushed out, he immediately rushed to a figure in the distance. When Chen Shang came in just now, he found that there were other people inside. Now that person realized that something was wrong, he immediately fled. Although he flew very fast, he was still caught up by that bald head. Chen Shang was very surprised in his heart, that bald head seemed to hatch from an egg, and he had a strong power of creation, and that power seemed to be the power of fate. In other words, that bald head has also cultivated his destiny. Brother, that bald head may have been conceived by the ancestral source of creation. Sister Xiaojing said. The ancestral source of creation also needs a powerful force to protect himself. Chen Shang chased after him immediately, he wanted to see who the bald head was chasing and killed, and at the same time he wanted to see the strength of the bald head. When he chased after him, the bald head had already started a fight with that person. When Chen Shang saw that person, he was amazed in his heart, he actually knew him, no wonder he sensed a very familiar aura before. The person who fights with the bald head is the sage who created the Tao. When I was in Wanzhou Mountain before, the sages who created the Tao said that they had their own things to do, and then they did not appear again. Now it's here, the sages who created the Tao are stronger than before, and they have also changed their lifestyle. It's Senior. Chen Shang saw that it was a sage who created the Tao, and immediately rushed over to help. And when he passed by, the bald head felt that Chen Zhang's strength was not weak, so he turned his head and flew away quickly. Chen Shang stood on the divine mirror of 6 paths, suspended in the void, surrounded by splendid nebulae emitting light. After seeing the 6 paths divine mirror, the Taoist sages were relieved when they saw that it was Chen Shang, and then flew to the 6 paths divine mirror. Xiao Shen, it turned out to be you. I thought it was the evil spirit Guiyuan coming. The Taoist sage laughed and said, we meet again. We haven't seen each other for a while, but you actually created the law of lifestyle cultivation. Amazing. Before the creation of Taoist sages, they hoped that they could have a destiny. He pinned his hopes on Chen Shang. He originally thought that Chen Shang could refine the fate, but now, Chen Shang did not refine the fate at all, but directly created the fate cultivation law, so that everyone could cultivate it. Fate. Senior, you have already cultivated your destiny. Chen Shang said with a smile. Yes, I can adapt quickly. It's all because of the foundation of the 6 paths of cultivation. World-defying universe, the future is boundless. The Taoist sage laughed, and he looked very energetic now, full of strength. By the way, Senior, what was that guy just now? Chen Shang asked. Created by the ancestors of the world. Speaking of this, the sages of Taoism gradually became serious and said, this kind of guy is very scary, because they are born with destiny. Those founders originated from the world-defining universe, and gradually understood the law of fate practice, and can create human beings through the law of fate practice. That kind of thing is really strong. Chen Shang looked at the direction where the bald head disappeared, and frowned. Senior, how did you know about this kind of thing? There are more and more ancestral sources of creation in the world-defining universe. As long as I don't practice cultivation, I will look for the location to mark the ancestral source of creation as soon as I have time. The Taoist sage said, although I can't help the ancestral source of creation, I will mark it first. Come down, maybe it will be useful in the future. Are there many guys like just now? Chen Shang asked. There will be more and more in the future. The ancestral source of creation also needs to be protected, because they themselves can't fight, and the number of evil spirits of Guiyuan is too small. Said the Taoist sages. So they are forced to create only the strong. Protect yourself. Does that kind of guy have a name? Chen Shang didn't expect to hide this kind of thing. When I was in Wanzhou Mountain, I learned that those things are called creation saints. The Taoist saint said, the human beings nurtured by the ancestors of creation are still very strong and have strong adaptability. Senior, how many locations have you marked the ancestral source of creation? Chen Shang was worried that he could not find the ancestral source of creation. I found 3, it's in the 6 palaces and stars. The Taoist sage took out a golden compass, then looked at the pointer, and said, there is one here, do you want to go over and take a look? Where are these ancestral sources of creation hidden? It feels very difficult to find. Chen Shang also wanted to master the ability to find the ancestral source of creation. Let's go, I'll tell you on the way. I learned something secretly in Wanzhou Mountain. The Taoist sage laughed. On the way, Chen Shang listened to the sages who created Taoism to talk about many essentials, all of which were looking for the ancestral source of creation. Sister Xiaojing will also record it. If she masters it, the 6 paths mirror will be able to directly determine the direction of the ancestral source of creation in the future. The Taoist sage brought Chen Shang to the vicinity of a huge star emitting a strong blue light. This star is very big, it's a sun. Said the Taoist sages. This is a high-quality king-level sun. In Wanzhou Mountain, they are classified like this. The ancestral source of creation is inside. Chen Shang asked. Yes, the Taoist sage nodded, the ancestral source of the world is hidden inside. This king-grade Tianri can protect it by itself, and it is difficult to get in. Senior, you said that destroying an ancestral source of creation, what kind of impact will it bring? Chen Shang asked. The sages who created the Tao did not leave Wanzhou Mountain before, and they spent a long time in it and learned a lot. Now that Wanzhou Mountain and Aoshi Universe are docked, he also quietly ran back. I don't know, because I've never heard of the ancestral source of creation being destroyed. The Taoist sage shook his head and said solemnly, but let the ancestral source of creation be chaotic in the universe and there will be endless troubles. World Defying Dan God Chapter 4822, Great Soul Detection. Chen Shang used to think that the ancestral source of creation was only injected with the power of creation, and used the power of creation to cooperate with various forces, but now it seems that the ancestral source of creation can actually evolve to the point where it can create human beings. Moreover, the human beings created are still very strong, and they can even have a destiny at birth. This is far beyond Chen Zhang's expectations. This shows that the ancestral source of creation is gradually adapting to the world-defining universe, and can understand the law of fate practice, and directly form a fate in those human bodies when creating human beings. This is the most terrifying place. The ancestral source of creation has a steady stream of creation power. If there are a large number of creation saints forming forces, it must be a powerful and terrifying force in the world-defying universe. Xiao Shen, I don't have enough strength to suppress the ancestral source of creation now. The sages who created Taoism looked at the huge blue scorching sun and sighed. I can only find where there is the ancestral source of creation. If these things are not right with restrictions, these ancestral sources of creation will create more and more powerful things. I know. Chen Shang nodded and said, the kind of bald head that suddenly appeared before was created by the ancestral source of creation, and it is indeed very strong. If the number increases, it will definitely cause great confusion. There must be quite a few things like that now. The Taoist sage said, look at this ancestral source of creation hidden inside this kind of star, such a huge star, a group of creation saints pop up from time to time, it's normal. Senior, you can find the ancestral source of creation one by one, mark the location, and leave the rest to me. Chen Shang also thought of a way to limit these ancestral sources of creation. With his current strength, he can't seal such a huge king-grade Tianri, but Shen Yuanxin can. Okay, I found the ancestral source of creation, and I will contact you immediately. The Taoist sage nodded. Here, Chen Shang handed him a storage bag, which contained a large number of formation pillars. Senior, when you find the ancestral source of creation, place an array pillar nearby. When you open the array pillar, this thing will burrow into the space and hide itself. I can also perceive the location of the pillar. Chen Shang said. The Taoist sage nodded, which is equivalent to marking the location of the ancestral source of creation. Senior, you can mark the next creation ancestor. Chen Shang urged. Be careful of those creation saints, those things are quite strong. Got it, the Taoist sage said. Xiao Shen, you have to be careful yourself. Those ancestral sources of creation are not fuel-efficient lamps. After exhorting each other, the Taoist sages left immediately to find and mark other ancestral origins. Chen Shang immediately contacted Shen Yuanxin. Shen Yuanxin herself couldn't determine where the ancestral source of creation was, but with Chen Zhang's guidance, after she locked an area, she could quickly determine whether there was an ancestral source of creation. There is indeed an ancestral source of creation here. Shen Yuanxin said, Father, what should I do now? Try to see if you can temporarily seal this star. Chen Shang said. I have to discuss it with Grandma Linglong. Shen Yuanxin said, she is now the soul of the world-defying universe, and she can also act. Chen Shang almost didn't think of this Linglong grandma. Sometimes he also called Linglong her mother-in-law. After he returned from the Demon Soul Star region, he never contacted her. Okay, Chen Shang said. Not long after, Shen Yuanxin said, I have discussed with Grandma Linglong that we can join hands to seal this star. Sometimes it will be more convenient for her to take action, especially this kind of seal. That's great, I almost forgot that there is still her great life spirit. Chen Shang said with a smile, with her help, we will be much easier. Dad, Grandma Linglong wants to discuss something with you. Shen Yuanxin said, I will guide her consciousness to connect with you, you can talk to her slowly. Okay, Chen Shang said. Before long, Grandma Linglong's voice appeared in Chen Zhang's mind. Little master, it's been a long time since I've seen you, I've already cultivated my destiny. Grandma Linglong said, it stands to reason that I should be a very powerful universe soul now, but I always feel that I am a little bit estranged from the world-defying universe. Is it because Xiao Yuanxin is there? Chen Shang thought about it and asked. No, in fact, even Xiao Yuanxin, she is sometimes very confused about the world-defining universe. Maybe, we can't fully control the world-defining universe. We can only control it indirectly, or indirectly maintain the operation of the world-defining universe. Grandma Linglong said. That's true, the world-defying universe is so powerful, even I never thought of completely controlling the world-defying universe. Chen Shang said. I have a guess about this. Grandma Linglong said. The Aoshi universe is still expanding and strengthening. This speed is too fast, so a large number of ancestral sources of creation are pouring in. I also find it strange. Even if the ancestral source of creation pours in, it will not make the universe change so fast. Chen Shang himself could also feel that the world-defying universe was rapidly becoming stronger. So I have a guess that there are many forces that are participating in it to make the world-proud universe bigger and stronger. Grandma Linglong said. After the four great heavens know about it, I worry about whether they will have a sight in the world-proud universe in the future. So they also put a lot of ancestral sources in. What, besides the four great heavens, are there other energies? Chen Shang was a little surprised. I thought it was only the power from the heavens. Under the four different heavens, there may be many cosmic spaces like Wanzhou Mountain. Grandma Linglong said. It's just that you have never been in contact with them, so you don't know they exist, but those cosmic spaces can be perceived the existence of the world-defying universe. Chen Shang never thought about these things before, he thought that only the four great heavens were coveting the world-defying universe. There are other cosmic dimensions. Chen Shang said in surprise. I thought the other cosmic dimensions were swallowed up by Wanzhou Mountain. Wanzhoushan actually wants to grow very strong, and finally become like the four alien heavens. Under the four alien heavens, there should be some fish that slip through the net that are not swallowed by Wanzhou Mountain, or secretly develop into the size of Wanzhou Mountain. Grandma Linglong said. Really, when I was in Wanzhou Mountain before, they said they were all swallowed by Wanzhou Mountain. Chen Shang has seen the power of Wanzhou Mountain. If he can escape the swallowing of Wanzhou Mountain, it should be a very powerful existence. Those guys from Wanzhou Mountain just talked about it, but what is it about? Maybe even Wanzhou Mountain doesn't know. Grandma Linglong said with a smile. It's because the universe is too special, so it will be targeted. Those hidden universes want to rely on the world-defying universe to become stronger. Chen Shang frowned. They are all attracted by the way of fate. So in the future, they should send people into the world-defying universe one after another. Grandma Linglong said. This is my guess, because I am the soul of fate, I can feel that there are other great life souls. World-defying Dan God Chapter 4823, Re-attack the Hall of Fate Soul. Chen Shang is not the soul of the universe, naturally he doesn't have the feeling of Grandma Linglong. It seems that with the emergence of the Way of Fate, the next changes in the world-defying universe will be very fast. Chen Shang said. Yes, the current growth rate of Aoshi universe must be changing rapidly. Grandma Linglong said. No matter what, you must be prepared to deal with it. Okay, you and Xiao Yuanxin go to seal those ancestral origins first. Chen Shang said. Even if these things are temporarily sealed, they are still a big hidden danger. Yes, we can't completely seal the ancestral source of creation, those things are too strong. Grandma Linglong said. Although it is sealed, it will continue to release the power of creation to affect all aspects. Chen Shang now only feels that his head is very big. Grandma Linglong is now joining forces with Shen Yuanxin to seal the ancestral source of creation. Chen Shang went to contact Ying Kuang. Ah Ying, what's going on with you? Have you got rid of those ghostly evil gods? Chen Shang asked. No, those guys are like mad dogs. And there are other Guiyuan evil gods to support. Damn, the number is increasing. Ying Kuang scolded. These have to bully the less. Both the Hall of Fate Soul and Wanzhou Mountain have the evil spirits of Guiyuan, and it is normal to send support now. Although they belong to 3 different forces, they are all from Guiyuan, and Ying Kuang also provokes the Lord of Guiyuan and is besieged. Also normal. Ah Ying, how many Guiyuan heretic gods are chasing you now? Chen Shang asked. More than a dozen, Ying Kuang responded cursingly. I can't get out of it in a short time because of them, and they run very fast, so I can't take it lightly. Chen Shang suddenly had a plan. Ying, you continue to delay them. Chen Shang said. I'm going to the Hall of Fate and Soul. There are 5 Guiyuan evil gods in the Hall of Fate and Soul, and some of them should be sent to hunt down Ying Kuang now. Chen Shang immediately set off for the Hall of Fate and Soul, and then contacted Zhang Wei, the inner ghost. Zhang Wei, can you help me check the situation of the evil spirits of Guiyuan in the Hall of Fate and Souls? I want to know how many evil spirits of Guiyuan are stationed in the Hall of Fate and Souls now. Chen Shang asked. I'm going to the Hall of Fate and Soul, and I'll be able to get a general idea of the situation when I get there. Zhang Wei said. He also wants to help Chen Shang, because after seeing Ying Kuang's strength, he has already decided to cultivate his fate. Transforming the Way of Fate qualities requires Chen Zhang's help. After all, Chen Shang is the founder of the Way of Life qualities. With Chen Zhang's help, it will be more stable. Zhang Wei immediately went to the Hall of Fate and Soul. He also knew that Chen Shang wanted to copy the old nest of the Hall of Fate and Soul. As long as the Hall of Fate and Soul still exists, sooner or later, the evil god of Guiyuan will continue to be summoned, which means that many people will die, and at the same time, there will be more and more evil gods of Guiyuan in the world-defying universe. Zhang Wei is also very quick in his work. He quickly got into the Hall of Fate and Soul. After all, he is also an alien evil god, and the group of ghosts and evil gods just don't show him any looks, but the big guys in the Hall of Fate and Soul are still very afraid of him. In just half a day, Zhang Wei figured out the situation, and immediately contacted Chen Shang. Young Master Shen, there is only one Guiyuan evil god in the Hall of Fate and Soul. They sent 4 out, and Wanzhou Mountain sent out 5. Zhang Wei said. There is only one Guiyuan evil god. It means that the defense of the Hall of Fate Soul is very weak now. There are 10 Guiyuan evil gods in Wanzhou Mountain. Although they sent 5 out, 5 of them were stationed in Wanzhou Mountain. Chen Shang gave up the idea of going to Wanzhou Mountain. Even if there is only one Guiyuan evil god in the Hall of Fate and Soul, Chen Shang also finds it very difficult, but he also wants to try. How big is the gap between himself and Guiyuan evil god? He decided to go to the Hall of Fate and Soul, and then he would fight the evil spirit of Guiyuan, and then Sister Xiaojing would use the 6 Paths Divine Mirror to destroy the Hall of Fate and Soul. The headquarters of the 6 Soul Palace, that is, the 6 Palace Star was torn apart, and the entire 6 Soul Palace is now smashed into scattered sand. In a short period of time, they have no way to mobilize people to slaughter 500 million souls. If they want to summon Guiyuan evil god, they need to slaughter hundreds of millions of living beings, which requires a lot of human and material resources. Now the 6 Soul Palace has been severely damaged, and its vitality has been greatly damaged. Chen Shang also secretly contacted Guan Yiyu, and the Kun clan and the Gan clan formed a team to attack the Sixth Soul Palace and disrupt the Sixth Soul Palace now. As long as the Sixth Soul Palace does not have the power protection of the evil ***** level, their strength will not be too powerful to be outrageous. Chen Shang is rushing to the Hall of Fate and Soul, and he wants to make the Hall of Fate and Soul suffer heavy damage. The last is Wanzhou Mountain. Wanzhou Mountain is difficult to deal with. First of all, Wanzhou Mountain is not in the world-defying universe, and secondly, Wanzhou Mountain is too huge. Even if there is no Guiyuan evil god in charge, the power of the masters inside is very terrifying. And even the Lord of the Universe is very powerful. Chen Shang sat on the divine mirror of 6 paths and asked Shen Yuanxin if he could completely close the space of the world-defying universe. Shen Yuanxin couldn't close the world-defining universe, he could only strengthen the space wall, but as long as there was strong enough energy, no matter how strong the space wall was, it would eventually be torn apart. Unless you add a few more spaces to block it. For example, in the second-level space of the world-defining universe, if you want to reach the second-level space, you must first tear open the first-level space before you can go to the second-level space. Shen Yuanxin couldn't stop the outside world from entering the world-defying universe, so what Chen Shang and the others could do was to establish order. Entering the world-defying universe was okay, but they had to obey the order. For example, the Hall of Fate Souls, the Palace of 6 Souls and the Wanzhou Mountain, after they entered the world-defying universe, they would slaughter all kinds of creatures to sacrifice and summon the evil spirits of Guiyuan. This is absolutely not allowed by Chen Shang, so he wants to destroy these 3 power. Especially Wanzhou Mountain. Yishan can penetrate the world-defining universe so quickly. Wanzhou Mountain has contributed a lot, and has made a lot of effort. The Hall of Fate and Soul is also hidden in a star field. Fortunately, Zhang Wei is now near the Hall of Fate and Soul. Chen Shang locks his communication talisman, and then jumps through space to immediately go to the Hall of Fate and Soul. There is only one Guiyuan heretic god, but there are also many other small shrimps and small fish in the Hall of Fate and Soul. Chen Shang looked at the huge palace and planned how to attack it. The Hall of Fate and Soul was originally as large as a star, and there were also many stars surrounding it to form a large protective formation. Although this kind of formation is very strong, it cannot prevent the current Chen Shang, as long as he can sneak in and break through from the inside. Zhang Wei flew out, and while contacting Chen Shang to determine the location, he flew. "I'll take you in. That barrier is quite strong, it's not easy for you to get in," Zhang Wei said. With Zhang Wei as an inner ghost, the Hall of Fate and Soul would never have imagined that someone would be infiltrated. "Zhang Wei, do you think it's a good time to attack the Hall of Fate and Soul?" Chen Shang asked. "If we don't engage in this Hall of Fate and Soul, it won't take long for them to summon Guiyuan heretic god. Now is an opportunity, because the evil spirits of Guiyuan are going to besiege Senior Yingguang." Zhang Wei said, "If the Hall of Fate and Soul is severely damaged, they will not have enough strength to raise 500 million souls for sacrifice. Other Guiyuan evil gods, do they have a way to summon evil gods from another heaven?" Chen Shang asked. World-Defying Dan God Chapter 4824, Why is it him again? Summoning alien evil god is essentially the gathering of energy on the side of the world-defying universe, passing through the altar, and then resonating with the altar on the other side, and finally opening the space channel. You can let alien evil god come," Zhang Wei said. Zhang Wei is an alien god, so he knows very well what kind of process this is. It takes a lot of energy to open this kind of space channel. Although the stars and the like also have powerful energy, those energies are difficult to control. Killing the living beings and gathering the energy in a large number of living beings is a very easy to control, open space channel. It will be very stable. Zhang Wei continued. "So does the altar over there in Yishan need energy?" Chen Shang asked. "Also needed, but Yishan has strong energy for stable support," Zhang Wei said. "The energy of the universe is not as good as Yishan, but here it needs to reach the same level of energy as Yishan's altar, so it is necessary to kill a large number of creatures to condense energy, which is sacrifice. The altar is the teleportation formation. It is not only necessary to destroy the operation of the Hall of Fate and Soul, but also to destroy their altar." Chen Shang understood. "I know where their altars are. And there are several others. They are also worried about being destroyed, so they have been secretly building a large number of altars to prevent them from being destroyed one after another," Zhang Wei said. "The power of the ancestral source of creation is also there. secretly helping them build the altar. Can't the power of the ancestral source help them open the altar to summon the evil god? Chen Shang asked. The power of the ancestral source of creation is too primitive, and that kind of energy is difficult to gather and run stably. It's not that it can't be used, but it's just too difficult. There is a lot of energy that can open the altar, and the easiest thing is to use a large number of living beings to sacrifice. Zhang Wei said. So it turns out, they all use the easiest way. Chen Shang sighed. Every time an alien evil ***** is summoned, it means that a lot of people will die. Not only the easiest, but also the most stable. Zhang Wei said. Other methods, if you want to condense energy, the teleportation array built is very huge, and it is easy to fail. Chen Shang looked at the Hall of Fate and Soul, and only felt that this temple was heavily indebted with blood, and could not wait to destroy it immediately. Zhang Wei, can you take me to the middle of the Hall of Fate and Soul? Chen Shang asked through voice transmission. Yes, Zhang Wei said. I live in the middle. There is no altar in the Hall of Fate and Soul. But there are a lot of core characters of the Hall of Fate and Soul, as well as various industrial resources and so on. That's good. Chen Shang followed behind Zhang Wei. Zhang Wei is an alien evil god, but no one knows that he is an inner ghost, so he also walks sideways in the Hall of Fate and Soul. He is the alien evil god summoned by the Sixth Soul Palace, which is good, but he also comes to the Life Soul Palace from time to time, saying that he is talking about something. Zhang Wei went unimpeded all the way, and brought Chen Shang to a relatively middle position. Young Master Shen, what are you going to do? Can you tell me about it? Zhang Wei said, there is a ghost of the evil spirit hidden in it, and that guy's strength is still very strong. I plan to destroy this Hall of Fate and Soul from the inside. Chen Shang said, the Guiyuan heretic god will definitely appear at that time. I'll have 2 moves with him depending on the situation. If I can't beat him, I'll run away. The main thing is to destroy it. This mountain is the Hall of Life and Soul. It's enough to destroy the Hall of Fate and Soul. It's better to be cautious when facing that Guiyuan heretic god. Zhang Wei was also worried that something would happen to Chen Shang, because he still had to rely on Chen Shang to help him change his fate. I'm going to start now. Chen Shang said. The movement will be bigger. He took out the 6 Paths Divine Mirror. As long as the Divine Mirror of 6 Paths expands here, it can be destroyed from the inside of the Hall of Fate and Soul. The outside of the Hall of Fate Soul is very strong, and there is a large array of stars to protect it, but the inside is very fragile. Originally, the guard of the Hall of Fate and Soul was still very strict. The ghost knew that Zhang Wei was an inner ghost. No one would have thought that this alien evil **** would take refuge in Chen Shang so much. Let's get started. Zhang Wei looked serious, nodded, and said, Young Master Shen, after this incident, they might suspect me, and I can no longer hang out with them. Please take care of young Master Shen. Quote. No problem, I'm starting. Chen Shang said with a smile, and then let Sister Xiaojing control the 6 Paths Divine Mirror to grow bigger. The Hall of Fate and Soul was as huge as a star, but at this moment it suddenly swelled up, but it didn't take long for many cracks to appear. Many people flew out of the Hall of Fate and Soul, and if they were fast, they could escape the catastrophe, but if they were slower, they would be hanged by a violent force from the Hall of Fate and Soul. When the Divine Mirror of 6 Paths expands and grows, it also spins rapidly, and while it grows, it is also swallowing up, and all the things that are swallowed up are sucked into the world-defying divine furnace to be smelted. Boom! The loud noises continued one after another, and various explosions burst from the huge Hall of Life and Soul, and beams of light and lightning spurted out with various energies. The scene was very spectacular. It is not the first time that the Hall of Fate and Soul has been attacked. The last time it was attacked by Chen Shang, so they learned a lesson and guarded against it. However, this time, they were still attacked by Chen Shang, because they saw the huge Divine Mirror of 6 Paths again, and it still emerged from the inside of the Hall of Fate Soul. Those higher-ups in the Hall of Fate and Soul seemed to have seen a ghost, and it was Chen Shang again. A large number of disciples in the Hall of Fate and Soul were killed, and a large amount of resources they had hoarded were also sucked into the 6 Paths Divine Mirror and smelted into the world-defying divine furnace. Chen Shang, why is this forced again? How did he enter the inside of the Hall of Fate and Soul? After the master of the Hall of Fate and Soul flew out, he was about to explode with anger. This time he is dead. With the evil spirit Guiyuan here, he will surely die miserably. Another elder was also very angry. Where's the evil god of Guiyuan? The hall master of the Soul Hall looked around. Over there. The elder pointed to the top of the Six Paths divine mirror, and there was a strong red light shooting at it. At this time, Chen Shang sensed the terrifying aura of the evil Guiyuan is approaching. Here, it's really strong. Chen Shang was secretly shocked. The evil god Guiyuan who fought against Ying Kuang in the Six Palaces before is much weaker than this one now. This guy is too strong. Zhang Wei was also surprised. The divine mirror of Six Paths immediately became smaller, and took Chen Shang and Zhang Wei to space jump. Don't run. That Guiyuan evil god gave a cold drink. It turned out to be a woman's voice. What shocked Chen Shang was that he was still very familiar with the voice. It sounded the same as Guoling Shay. He guessed that the Lord of Guiyuan might use Guoling Shay as a template to create many of the same puppets. This Guiyuan evil god might be just like Guoling Shay, a puppet created by the Lord of Guiyuan. After Chen Shang made the space jump, he found that the evil of Guiyuan could even travel through space to catch up. Brother, that voice belongs to Guoling Shay. Sister Xiaojing was sure, because she merged with Guoling Shui's body. At this moment, Chen Shang heard that voice again. Chen Shang, I didn't expect you to come out of the demon soul star. The voice said coldly, I want revenge. Damn, is she really Guoling Shay? Chen Shang was very surprised. World-Defying Dan God Chapter 4825, Soul Sea Life. Sister Xiaojing was the most shocked, because she had obviously robbed Guoling Shui's body, and she was very satisfied with that body, and now she can control that body to move in the Six Paths divine mirror. But now the Guiyuan evil god who suddenly appeared, not only has the same voice as Guoling Shay, but also has the same memory as Guoling Shay. This is too outrageous. Chen Shang remembered that Guoling Shay once said that she extracted the memory copy and placed it in the Xie domain. But that memory can't come here so quickly. Chen Shang, are you surprised? Why do I know you? The voice sneered from behind. Are you Guoling Shay? Chen Shang couldn't help but ask. I am Guoling Shay. I have her memory. Guoling Shay said, although I don't know what you did to my body in the end, I am sure that you are my enemy. It seems that you only obtained the memory of that Guoling Shay, you are not her. Chen Shang said. You are wrong, I am her. Guoling Shay said, the master has created many of the same me. Chen Shang is now even more certain that the Guiyuan evil god who is chasing him now only obtained the memory of the previous Guoling Shay, but it is not the real Guoling Shay. You are also a puppet created by him? Chen Shang asked. That's right, and I'm stronger than what you met. Guoling Shay, who was chasing behind, laughed and said, I didn't expect that you would come here without knowing how to live or die as soon as you came back. How dare you not have Ying Kuang by your side? Come. Damn bitch, this is my territory. Chen Shang also learned Xiangling's tone and shouted to Guoling Shay. Chen Shang, the monster soul star suddenly disappeared. Do you know what happened to the monster soul star? Ha ha, Guoling Shay suddenly laughed. You probably don't know where they went, right? Chen Shang was really curious, he also wanted to know. Tell you, they all went to Yishan. They listened to a group of time cultivators and ran to Yishan to die. Guoling Shay said, you should be worried about them now, right? Just like what Ying Kuang said, there really was a time for monks to exist, and they also got the demon soul star to another heaven. The ability of the time cultivator is also too terrifying, and he can send the entire demon soul star away. Chen Shang was even more curious about what he did to him after he was stunned by Shen Zhenyi. Especially for yourself and Xiangling, did anything happen? Guoling Shay, you are very powerful, I can't beat you now. But you can't help me either. Chen Shang said, I advise you not to be complacent in the world-defying universe, this is not your Yishan hometown. We Guiyuan heretic god are invincible in the world-defying universe. Guoling Shay sneered. Look at you, you don't dare to fight me at all, and just ran away. What if you can jump in space? I can chase you just as well. Gotta get you. Chen Shang really didn't dare to fight, because he couldn't fight at all, unless he had 10-8 fates. Furthermore, once Guoling Shay fights, he is the kind who is not afraid of death. Because she was just a puppet, after she died, there would still be thousands of Guoling Shay. Chen Shang can only sneak first, and then slowly think of a way. He had thought about relying on the divine mirror of Six Paths to block the first block, but the divine mirror of Six Paths is assisting the world-defying divine furnace to refine the Suzaku tenderness silk. Brother, the Suzaku tenderness silk is about to be refined. If it goes well, it will be able to fully fuse the scourge, and it will become very strong. Sister Xiaojing said with a smile. Not only the power of the scourge, but also the power of the scourge. There's that heavy sword. Ying Kuang had fought against the evil ***** of Guiyuan before, and the heavy sword was taken away by Chen Shang and thrown into the world-defying divine furnace. Then let's delay it for a while. Chen Shang could only continue to run. Zhang Wei was also beside him. Facing the murderous Guo Lingshe, Zhang Wei shivered. Zhang Wei, you traitor! Guo Lingshe shouted angrily. You are obviously the evil god, and you have a bright future, so why should you betray Yishan? It's you who deceive people too much. Zhang Weiwei shouted. I haven't improved at all for so many years. After the task of cultivating Yishan evil god is handed over to the Lord of Guiyuan, only you Guiyuan evil god can benefit. You can't even get hair. You're useless. You've betrayed, it's definitely not going to end well. Just wait, after I capture you and Chen Shang, you'll look good. Guo Lingshe scolded angrily. She is also very angry now, because it was Zhang Wei, the inner ghost, that caused Chen Shang to destroy the Hall of Fate and Soul, causing a large number of disciples of the Hall of Fate and Soul to die, and a lot of resources were taken away by Chen Shang. As a result, the Hall of Fate and Soul would not be able to convene people to slaughter the sacrifices in a short period of time. The Sixth Soul Palace was also destroyed by Chen Shang. There is no way for these two major forces to make sacrifices, which means that it is very difficult for the evil ***** Guiyuan to come to the world-defying universe. It can only pass through the Wanzhou Mountain, and most of the Wanzhou Mountain consumes the life of the universe inside the Wanzhou Mountain to sacrifice, and the Wanzhou Mountain is not as obedient as the Fate Soul Palace and the Sixth Soul Palace. Wanzhou Mountain has many requirements for Guiyuan evil god, and only if they have enough interests, they are willing to summon Guiyuan evil god. Guo Lingshe, why don't you kill Ying Kuang? Chen Shang sneered. You can obviously let others guard the Hall of Fate Soul. You hate Ying Kuang so much, why didn't you go? Are you doing it in the Hall of Fate Soul? What's the shameful thing? Fart, Guo Lingshe said angrily. I see, you are also secretly converting to the life cultivation style. Chen Shang he said with a smile, if you transfer to the life cultivation style, your strength will not be too strong. Chen Shang had learned from Zhang Wei before that some Guiyuan evil gods also had to change their fates, but when they went to Lugongxing, the Guiyuan evil gods they encountered had no fates. Guo Lingshe stayed in the Hall of Fate and Soul and did not go, so Chen Shang was somewhat suspicious, but Guo Lingshui's aura is so strong now that even Zhang Wei is afraid. It doesn't look like the weak period just after he changed his lifestyle. Chen Shang suddenly thought of a possibility, that is, Guo Lingshe has also cultivated the lifestyle, and at the same time retains the Soul Sea cultivation base. That is to say, she cultivated her life and Soul Sea at the same time. World-Defying Dan God Chapter 4826, The Ancestor of Fate. It's not that Chen Shang didn't imagine the possibility of this kind of cultivation before, but he thought it was difficult to integrate it. Chen Shang, who was flying away on the Divine Mirror of Six Paths, suddenly stopped and stood on the Divine Mirror of Six Paths. After Guo Lingshe chased after him, she didn't immediately take action against Chen Shang, because she could tell that Chen Shang had given up and escaped. Have you cultivated your destiny? Chen Shang asked. Chen Shang, you should have noticed it, right? I am cultivating Fate and Soul Sea at the same time, this is the strongest ultimate way, ha ha ha. Guo Lingshe laughed loudly. And you abandoned the Soul Sea and switched to Fate cultivation. You idiot, don't you regret it very much now? I had imagined before that there would be this possibility. Chen Shang said. It's just that in my vision, this is very difficult to achieve, but it is still possible to succeed. Facing this kind of thing, Chen Shang is also very cautious at the moment. He did not directly deny that he couldn't do it. It's hard, but I did it. Guo Lingshe sneered. It means that more people will be able to do it in the future. You don't have the advantage of cultivating the Soul Sea. You can't practice both at the same time, and you will always be crushed by us. Press. If the aliens cultivate the Fate, and at the same time obtain the Fate from a large number of people in the world-defining universe, then they will cultivate the Fate even faster. Therefore, Guo Lingshui's success is of great significance. She thinks so, and at the same time, she also feels that if she continues to practice, she may become the strongest in the world. After mastering powerful power, people will swell, and Guo Lingshe is no exception. Although she is a puppet, she has swelled at the moment. She knows very well that cultivating Fate and Soul Sea at the same time is the most powerful path in history. As long as she grows up secretly, she will be able to step on her master, the Lord of Guiyuan, in the future. I still had a speculation at the time, that is, if I could practice both at the same time, would there be any harm? Chen Shang said again. Let me tell you, there are no drawbacks. Guo Lingshe said with a smile, are you very envious of me now? No, there will be big drawbacks, and I'm very sure. Chen Zhang's serious face just now suddenly showed a smile, and said, I can see the disadvantages of cultivating two ways from you now. Don't try to fool me. Guo Lingshe didn't believe it at all, and sneered, Chen Shang, you'd better follow me back honestly. Guo Lingshe wanted to arrest Chen Shang, because this was what the Lord of Guiyuan wanted. After all, Chen Shang possessed the fate of the world-defying universe, and he also created a way to cultivate his fate, so the Lord of Guiyuan really wanted to study Chen Shang. You have cultivated your destiny, and there are still two. Chen Shang said. The speed is really fast. Yes, since you can see it, don't talk about the disadvantages, it's all to scare people. Guo Lingshe said. Do you know why I didn't run away suddenly? Chen Shang said. I'm not afraid of you. You're just afraid of me. Because you know very well that you can't run away at all, so you want to play tricks on me. Guo Lingshe sneered. If you just transferred to the fate qualification, I would really be afraid of you. Or, if you haven't cultivated the fate qualification, and you retain a powerful soul sea cultivation base, I'm also very afraid of you. Chen Shang said with a smile, however, now that you have both the fate and the soul sea, then you are a dead person in my eyes. What did you say? Guo Lingshe angrily scolded. You say I'm dead. Is it because I practice two ways at the same time? You fart, this is obviously the strongest way. The way of fate in the world-defining universe was created by me. Do you think I know the way of fate better, or do you understand better? Chen Shang smiled, the smile on his face made Guo Lingshe very unhappy. Although you have created the way of fate, I still want to say, you know the fate. Guo Lingshe shouted. I can now combine the knowledge of fate with the way of the soul sea, and I am the fate. The first person in the way. Then let me tell you simply, the destiny is stronger than the soul sea. And the destiny can devour the soul sea. You have cultivated the destiny, and as long as you guide it, your destiny will devour your soul sea. And I can control the fate. I'm not afraid to tell you, I am the ancestor of the fate of the world-defying universe. The fate that I cultivated in the universe of the world is based on the way of fate that I created. Chen Zhang's forehead suddenly radiated light, and a rhombus-shaped crystal appeared, that was his destiny. What are you doing? Guo Lingshe felt that there was a crisis, and immediately used the strongest force to blast a powerful red light from both hands. But Chen Shang made a space jump through the six paths divine mirror and came to the distance behind Guo Lingshe. The crystal on Chen Zhang's forehead flickered, but it did not attack Guo Lingshe, but the light emitted by the crystal penetrated into Guo Lingshui's body, arousing the fate in Guo Lingshui's body. Just as Guo Lingshe was about to chase after her, she found that her fate was suddenly out of control, and she was running around in the depths of her soul, entering the sea of AA souls. Guo Lingshui's fate seems to be going crazy, and she is devouring the power of the soul sea frantically, which has caused great disturbance to both the fate and soul sea power in her body. As I guessed before, fate and soul sea are two contradictory entities. As long as you guide me, fate will take the initiative to attack and devour the soul sea. Chen Shang looked at Guo Lingshe from a distance. Guo Lingshe was suspended in the air, and she was concentrating on controlling her life and soul sea, trying to calm both of them, but she couldn't do it at all. Both fate and soul sea are deep in her soul, as if they are fighting fiercely. There are only two fate, and facing the huge soul sea, these two fate are very weak. However, under Guo Lingshui's control, the power of the soul sea was suppressed, and it was difficult for her to suppress the fate, so the fate rushed everywhere to destroy the soul sea. The power of the fate is to restrain the soul sea. Chen Shang said. You must use the power of the soul sea to suppress the fate, so those forces will be easily broken by the fate. Chen Shang, you ***** bastard, wait for me. After Guo Lingshe shouted angrily, she let out a scream, and she saw two crystal beads appearing on her forehead. That was because she forced her life form out of her body and completely gave up her life form. After being forced out, Guo Lingshe also became very weak. She originally wanted to destroy those two fates and did not want to be obtained by Chen Shang, but because she was too weak, she had to treat those two fates as throw away the bait. Chen Shang really went to pick up those two fates, and Guo Lingshe ran away in a blink of an eye. This guy is quite decisive. After Chen Shang grabbed the two fates, he smiled and said, anyway, this guy has been weakened by me, so there is no threat at the moment. Brother, can fate and soul sea be combined? Sister Xiaojing asked. Fate is the way of the world-defying universe, and the soul sea is the way of the alien heaven. Unless the world-arrogant universe and the alien heaven are fused, it is impossible to combine them perfectly. Chen Shang said. She is just being smart. Do you like this site? Donate here. World-Defying Dan God Chapter 4827, Tian Liang. Although Guoling She gave up two fates, her soul sea cultivation base was very high, and she was still difficult to deal with, so Chen Shang did not go after her, but to pick up those two fates. Brother, this Guoling She is very powerful, much stronger than the one we met at the Demon Soul Star. Sister Xiaojing said, if she hadn't run away by herself, it would be very difficult for us to win a fight with her. Yes, if she works hard, we really can't take her down. Chen Shang nodded and said, we are here this time to destroy the Hall of Fate and Soul, and the goal has been achieved, let's go. Chen Shang brought Zhang Wei, and then contacted Ying Kuang. Ying Kuang is still being chased and killed by many Guiyuan evil gods, and he cannot escape in a short time, but Chen Shang still hopes that he can get rid of those Guiyuan evil gods as soon as possible, because he needs Ying Kuang to catch Guoling She. Although Zhang Wei is also an alien evil god, his strength is much worse than that of Guiyuan evil god. If he changed his lifestyle, he might be stronger, at least he could continue to fight. The current Zhang Wei is very dependent on the divine power provided by Yishan. Now that he has been betrayed by Yishan, he will not be able to obtain the divine power in the future, and will become even weaker. Those evil spirits of Guiyuan can jump in space, so it's normal for him to not be able to run away in a short time. After Chen Shang asked Ying Kuang, he learned that several of the evil spirits of Guiyuan who were chasing him were able to jump in space. Fortunately, they are all subject to certain restrictions, because the space jump consumes a lot and cannot be used continuously. So Ying Kuang still has a chance to escape. The Hall of Fate and Soul has been settled, I'd better go pick up Ah Ying. Chen Shang said to Sister Xiaojing, lock Ah Ying's communication talisman, let's jump over. The space jump consumption of the Six Paths Divine Mirror is not very large, and the jumping distance is farther. After Chen Shang contacted Ying Kuang, he immediately made a space jump and appeared in front of Ying Kuang. Ying Kuang jumped onto the Divine Mirror of Six Paths, and Chen Shang felt several terrifying auras attacking from all directions. The 6 Divine Mirrors immediately jumped in space, attacking from all directions. The Divine Mirror of Six Paths performed long-distance space jumps, and jumped continuously, but the evil spirits of Guiyuan were able to follow closely. Senior, I met Guoling She again. Chen Shang simply said about the Guiyuan evil god he met in the Hall of Fate and Soul. Although he was chased and killed, Chen Shang thought that the other party could not catch up, so he was more calm. Why did the master of Guiyuan use the image of Guoling She to create so many puppets? Ying Kuang began to think and frowned. I suspect that the original form of Guoling She is not simple. There must be something wrong with the master of Guiyuan doing this. Purpose. It's really strange. Chen Shang nodded. I seem to have heard a rumor. Zhang Wei, who had not spoken much, suddenly said, there is such a saying in Yishan that the Lord of Guiyuan worships a person very much, and his worship of this person has reached madness. The point. Could it be that Guoling Shui's original form is the one that the Lord of Guiyuan admires? Ying Kuang fell into his memories and muttered to himself, it seems that there really is such a person. This is just a legend. The Lord of Guiyuan is very mysterious. It is said that people who have seen the Lord of Guiyuan speak highly of him. Zhang Wei said. By the way, is the Lord of Guiyuan a man or a woman? Chen Shang suddenly looked at Zhang Wei with strange eyes, and said, I remember Ah Ying said that Yishans have no gender. Zhang Wei, you and Odd as Ying have no gender. Guys with alien Dao species, they have no gender, they can switch freely. Zhang Wei said, we alien gods do not have alien Dao species, we are born with gender. The Lord of Ghost Abyss is very mysterious. I don't know what gender it is. If there is an alien species, then his gender is either male or female. It's not. Ying Kuang, who was pondering just now, suddenly said, there was a very ancient period in Yishan. At that time, all Yishan people were of Yishan Taoism, and they were definitely gendered. I've heard of it too, but I always thought it was just a legend. Zhang Wei looked at Ying Kuang with some surprise, and said, Senior, in my eyes, you are considered a very ancient period, aren't you in that period? I was just after that period. Ying Kuang said. The Lord of Guiyuan should be a person from that period. I remember that period was called Tianlianji, and after that, there were 4 different heavens. Who is in charge of the 4 great heavens? What powers do they have? Chen Shang asked. I've always been curious. Ying Kuang and Zhang Wei looked at each other and shook their heads. I don't know, Ying Kuang said. I only know that there are such a group of big men and great forces in the 4 great heavens. I really don't know what they are. And they are all very strong. I don't know either. However, I guess Guiyuan is one of them. Now one has finally surfaced. Zhang Wei said. No, Guiyuan is only a lackey. Ying Kuang said. I originally attacked Guiyuan and thought that Guiyuan was one of the 4 powerful forces in Yishan, but after the attack, I realized that they were just lackeys. Ah, Zhang Wei said in shock, is Guiyuan just a lackey? The person whom the Lord of Guiyuan worships should be one of the mysterious bigwigs. Ying Kuang suddenly frowned, and then shook his head again and again. What the asterisk is going on? Who? Zhang Wei seemed to suddenly think of something. Chen Shang has never stayed in Yishan, so he doesn't know about Yishan, but judging from the reactions of Ying Kuang and Zhang Wei at this time, they can't accept the person they guessed. Yao Tianzu, Ying Kuang said with a serious look. At the beginning of the ancient Tianlian period, 3 ancestors and 5 emperors were born because of Tianlian. The 3 ancestors are the strongest, they are the foundation of the other heavens, none of them are indispensable, and there is no one of them. 1. Yishan will collapse and destroy. And the 5 emperors are the foundation of Yishan. If one of them is missing, there will be turbulence in Yishan in a short time, but it will not collapse and destroy. The 3 ancestors can join hands to train new emperors to continue to maintain Yishan's foundation stability. Hearing Ying Kuang talking about these legends, Zhang Wei also seemed excited and frightened. Why are you sure that the person whom the Lord of Guiyuan worships is Yao Tianzu? Chen Shang asked. Have you seen Yao Tianzu? Besides, he worships Yao Tianzu. Even if he has met, then he will use Yaoshan's shape to create so many puppets. Isn't this courting death? Yao Tianzu doesn't care about this kind of shit. Zhang Wei took a deep breath and said, 3 ancestors never care about this. It seems that the master of Guiyuan has seen Yao Tianzu, one of the 3 ancestors. Yao Tianzu, it's a woman. Are there any women among the 5 emperors? Chen Shang asked. The 5 emperors have no women. After the Tianlianji, Yishan was divided into 4 major Yishans. The 5 emperors lacked one, and the foundation of Yishan was unstable. It means that after so many years, the 3 ancestors have not established the 5th emperor. Ying Kuang said. Yishan's chaos, is the 3rd ancestor behind it? Chen Shang asked. It's not the 3rd ancestor, it's the 5 emperors. No, it's the 4th emperor. It is also possible that someone wants to be the 5th emperor. The reason for the chaos is that the 4th emperor does not want a new emperor to be born, and the new emperor will definitely strive to be recognized by the 3rd ancestor. Even against the 4 emperors. Ying Kuang shook his head and sighed. It's very complicated. The Aoshi universe is probably involved too. World Defying Dan God Chapter 4828, Mirror Magic Mountain and River. Chen Shang has never stayed in Yishan, so in his opinion, the 3 patriarchs and 5 emperors are all illusory. There is no way to feel the mood of Ying Kuang and Zhang Wei. Ah Ying, the 3 ancestors and 5 emperors of your Yishan are all legends, right? Chen Shang said, it's just legends. Although it is a legend, the 3 ancestors and 5 emperors should exist. Ying Kuang shook his head and said, I don't know why the Lord of Guiyuan worships and admires Yao Tianzu so much. If you really worship a person, then he shouldn't use the image of Yao Tianzu to do evil everywhere. Chen Shang pouted. Use the appearance of Yao Tianzu to create a lot of puppets, and then these puppets will do evil outside. Is this worship? It's really hard to understand, Zhang Wei said. However, it may be that the Lord of Guiyuan worships Yao Tianzu so much that the Lord of Guiyuan is twisted in his heart. There is another possibility, Ying Kuang suddenly said. It is the Lord of Guiyuan who hates Yao Tianzu. If the Lord of Guiyuan hates Yao Tianzu, then it makes sense. Chen Shang said with a smile, but then again, the Lord of Guiyuan is true, isn't he afraid of offending Yao Tianzu? I said before, Yao Tianzu doesn't care about these things. Ying Kuang said, for the 3 ancestors, there is no need for them to do this kind of shit. You can't say that. Chen Shang didn't agree with it, and said with a smile, if I were Yao Tianzu, the master of Guiyuan would have been cold long ago. There should be many admirers of Yao Tianzu, and they will definitely kill Guiyuan. Lords. However, the three ancestors wouldn't take action because of this kind of thing, right? Their realm has already jumped out of the scope we can understand. Ying Kuang said. In his eyes, the third ancestor was in a very high state of mind, and it was unlikely will be furious over this kind of thing. Ah Ying, if you think that the three ancestors and 5 emperors really exist, and as you guessed, the 4 emperors are divided, and the opinions of the 3 ancestors cannot be unified, so the new emperor has not been established for a long time, then it means that the 3 ancestors have differences of opinion and have produced contradiction. Chen Shang said. Impossible. Ying Kuang shook his head again and again. You have never been in contact with the 3 ancestors, no matter how high their realm is, but they also have a conflict of interests. Every level of people will have their own level of interest competition. Of course, their interests may not be treasure resources or anything, maybe it's something else. Chen Shang spread his hands and said, with our current state, we definitely cannot understand their conflict of interests. After Ying Kuang and Zhang Wei heard it, they also felt quite reasonable, and then nodded. The problem facing the world-defying universe at present is indeed a large-scale invasion by Yishan. Yishan wants to completely control the world-defining universe, and intends to acquire a large number of lifestyles cultivated by the creatures of the world-defining universe as their cultivation resources. Chen Shang is now only looking at the crisis in front of him. Why are the 3 patriarchs and 5 emperors too far away from him? But the evil ***** of Guiyuan actually invaded in, causing great damage to the world-defying universe. Master Shen, what are your plans now? Zhang Wei asked. Zhang Wei, you help me find all the altars in the Hall of Fate Soul and 6 souls, I will destroy all their altars. Chen Shang said. Then the only threat left is Wanzhou Mountain. For Wanzhou Mountain, Chen Shang has a headache. Because Wanzhou Mountain is equivalent to a super huge universe, and there are many creatures inside Wanzhou Mountain, as long as the Lord of Wanzhou gives an order, he can quickly sacrifice the creatures in their Wanzhou Mountain and then summon Guiyuan from another heaven. Cthulhu. Even if the Hall of Fate and Souls and the Palace of 6 Souls cannot continue to summon the evil spirits of Guiyuan, the only remaining evil spirits of Guiyuan are not something Chen Shang and the others can deal with. On the other side of Wanzhou Mountain, there is still a steady stream of summoning the evil spirits of Guiyuan, and Chen Shang and the others cannot rapidly improve their strength. Facing a large number of evil spirits of Guiyuan, there is no room for the major forces of the world-defying universe to grow. Ah Ying, the heretic god of Guiyuan is too powerful. You and Zhang Wei should join forces to deal with 1 or 2 at the same time, but if you deal with a group, it will be difficult. Chen Shang said. But we must clear it as soon as possible. The evil spirit of Guiyuan, the world-defying universe. Yeah, if there is a way to disperse them, then we can destroy them one by one. Ying Kuang said that it was very easy for him to kill a Guiyuan evil god at the beginning, but it was not enough to face several. There are still evil spirits of Guiyuan chasing them. The most terrifying thing is that their tracking ability is very strong. That group of guys can jump in space to chase us, mainly because the power of creation is all over the universe. That is to say, these guys have a certain connection with the ancestors of creation, so they can give them through the ancestors of creation. Hint to follow us, Ying Kuang said. Chuangshi ancestral source and Guiyuan evil god, these are both great hidden dangers. Chen Shang said. But Chuangshi ancestral source, I already have a way to seal them, but Guiyuan evil god is more difficult to deal with, and then Wanzhou over the mountain. If the ancestral origin of the world-defying universe can be suppressed and the evil spirits of Guiyuan gradually decrease, then the number 1 enemy is Wanzhou Mountain. Ying Kuang said. When necessary, we must take the initiative to enter Wanzhou Mountain and stir the inside. Turned upside down. Chen Shang also thought so. Then let's join forces to kill the Guiyuan evil god. Chen Shang said. This group of Guiyuan evil gods should also be led by someone. Their head is most likely Guo Lingshe, but Guo Lingshe has already run away. Guo Lingshe hurriedly fled after giving up 2 fates, which means that she had also been greatly affected by the abandonment of those 2 fates, and she was unable to fight in a short period of time. Now, Ying Kuang felt a little difficult. Yeah, right now. After Chen Shang finished speaking, he stopped the divine mirror of 6 paths, and then it quickly became bigger. The mirror of the 6 paths divine mirror faces upward, and then projects a spatial illusion. Looking from the outside, the huge 6-path mirror, the mirror surface shows the magnificent mountains and rivers. In the dark void of the universe, the divine mirror of six paths is like a huge piece of land floating on top of it, with thousands of mountains and rivers above it, majestic. After those Guiyuan evil gods made space jumps to chase after them, they were also very surprised when they suddenly saw the floating continent appearing in front of them. This was released by the Six Paths divine mirror through the world-defying mountains and rivers map, combined with the power of the space Yuanju, and also supported by the energy of the world-defying universe, so those mountains and rivers are all real, and they were all condensed with the energy of the world-defying universe in an instant. Chen Shang and the others are hidden inside. If the evil spirits of Guiyuan enter, they will be separated by the space illusion, and they will be able to destroy the evil spirits of Guiyuan one by one. Is this place their hiding place? It seems to have strong spatial fluctuations. Let's go in and have a look. Be careful, don't act alone, we must keep a close enough distance so that we can support quickly. We have to have 3 people to beat Yingquang. Got it, let's go. After a few Guiyuan evil gods discussed it, they flew to the map of the world-defining mountains and rivers. World-defying Dan God Chapter 4829, Wanzhou Mountain Turmoil. Because Guiyuan evil god has been chasing Yingquang, in their eyes, if Chen Shang and the others are strong enough, they will not be chased by them all the way. So they thought that as long as they didn't separate, they would keep a group of 3 even if they were separated, so that they wouldn't be killed by the other party, and then they would fly into the awkward mountains and rivers map with confidence. However, after they entered, they soon felt that the space around them was fluctuating. No, there is a strong space power. A Guiyuan evil god suddenly shouted, wanting to make a space jump, but found that the space around him was very solid, and he couldn't open the space channel for space jump. The same is true for the other Guiyuan evil gods. Just when they panicked, stronger spatial fluctuations appeared, and then moved them to other places. In this way, they were all scattered. After dispersing, they immediately realized that it was a trap that suddenly appeared in the void continent of the universe. After they entered this trap, they were dispersed, so they must be killed one by one. Just after those Guiyuan evil gods had just entered the world-defying mountains and rivers map, Guo Lingshe hurriedly arrived, but it was already too late. These idiots! Guo Lingshe scolded in a low voice, this is troublesome, these idiots will all die in it. Guo Lingshe saw at a glance that the awkward mountains and rivers map was a very dangerous trap. Guo Lingshe also wanted to jump in and look for the group of ghosts, but she didn't dare, because she didn't have enough confidence to fly out of the world-defining mountains and rivers map. The core strength of both the Hall of Fate and Souls and the Hall of Six Souls have been hit. Although there are still some altars, there are not enough people to prepare sacrifices, and it is impossible to summon the evil spirit Guiyuan. Guo Lingshe also realized now that Chen Shang attacked the Six Soul Palace and the Fate Soul Palace in order to prevent them from summoning the Guiyuan evil god. Faced with this situation, Guo Lingshe could only go to the rescue, and immediately rushed to Wanzhou Mountain. At present, only Wanzhou Mountain can quickly prepare sacrifices to summon the evil god. After Guo Lingshe left for a long time, the world-defining universe map gradually disappeared, and the six-path mirror began to shrink. The evil of Guiyuan who entered the world-defying universe map was separated by Sister Xiaojing using space power, and then sent Chen Shang, Zhang Wei and Yingquang over. They fight 3 against 1, and a single Guiyuan evil god can't stop them at all. It can be said that they killed those Guiyuan evil gods easily. This time, Chen Shang did not let their souls go, but put their souls and bodies into the world-defying divine stove for burning, which could enhance the vermilion bird's tenderness. Guo Lingshe has been here, I can sense the breath. Sister Xiaojing said. Brother, it should be the group of Guiyuan evil gods who entered the world-defining mountains and rivers not long before Guo Lingshe came, but she left quickly and did not come in. She actually came. It's a pity, she didn't come in. Chen Shang felt very regretful. Guo Lingshe saw it. It seems that this trick will not work in the future. Sister Xiaojing laughed. There are almost 10 Guiyuan evil gods in the Six Soul Palace and the Fate Soul Palace, and they have been destroyed by us. Zhang Wei said. Wan Zhoushan sent 5 to hunt down the seniors before, but they returned to Wanzhou Mountain halfway. In other words, there are 10 Guiyuan evil gods in Wanzhou Mountain. 10 Wanzhou Mountains, plus Guo Lingshe is 11. Chen Shang nodded and said, we need to completely clean up the evil spirits of Guiyuan. Guo Lingshe will definitely go to Wanzhou Mountain. She can only go to Wanzhou Mountain now. Ying laughed wildly. Sir, let's go to Wanzhou Mountain now. Go inside and make trouble. Before going to Wanzhou Mountain, we have to destroy the remaining altars of the Sixth Soul Palace and the Fate Soul Palace. Chen Shang said. I know where those altars are. Zhang Wei used to be the alien evil god of the Sixth Soul Palace, so he still knew the location of the altars very well. Under the leadership of Zhang Wei, Chen Shang spent a few days to finally destroy those giant altars. What surprised him was that most of the materials used to build the altar were from Yishan, and they were all very good stones. So they were all thrown into the arrogant furnace, and asked Xiaojing's sister to burn it to see if she could integrate into the tenderness of Suzaku. Because the Suzaku tenderness silk is fused with the parent body of the disaster insect, if it succeeds, it will definitely become stronger. In order to make the Suzaku tenderness silk stronger, he continues to refine more precious materials into it. The sages who created the Tao have been looking for the ancestral source of the world, and have marked them, and then let one of Shen Yuanxin seal it. Shen Yuanxin seals those ancestral sources of creation, but it just prevents the ancestral source of creation from bursting with powerful energy, but the ancestral source of creation can still release a steady stream of creation power and send it to the world-defying universe. Grandma Sequan used to be the master of Wanzhou Mountain, and she still escaped from it, so she knew very well how to enter Wanzhou Mountain. Chen Shang wanted to go to Wanzhou Mountain, so he contacted her and asked. Grandma Sequan, I want to enter Wanzhou Mountain. Chen Shang said, how can I enter Wanzhou Mountain? Xiao Shen, it's not a good time for you to enter Wanzhou Mountain now. Grandma Sequan said, there is a sudden chaos inside Wanzhou Mountain, in short, there is chaos between Wanzhou Mountain and the domain of no heaven. I don't know the specific situation. There's a lot of chaos inside, wouldn't it be better for me to go in now? Chen Shang said with a smile. It's best to find out what's going on inside, I'm worried you'll be trapped inside. Grandma Sequan said, don't worry, I'll arrange for someone to inquire about the situation now. How about we go to the entrance of Wanzhou Mountain and wait? Chen Shang said. Also, Grandma Sequan then told Chen Shang a location. There was a space passage just opened by Wanzhou Mountain, which was relatively stable. Chen Shang rushed over immediately. The entrance was built in the middle of a huge star. That star was all golden seawater, and it looked golden from a distance. When Chen Shang approached this star, he could feel that there were many people from Wanzhou Mountain flying around and patrolling. After Chen Shang patiently waited for 2 days, he finally got the news from Grandma Sequan. Xiao Shen, the chaos in Wanzhou Mountain is because there is a different power to take over Wanzhou Mountain, but the Lord of Wanzhou does not agree. Grandma Sequan said, when I heard the news, I was also very surprised. Chen Shang immediately thought of Guo Lingshe. Guo Lingshe entered Wanzhou Mountain. The main purpose is to let Wanzhou Mountain summon more ghosts and evil spirits. And the Lord of Wanzhou is the boss of Wanzhou Mountain, how can he endure Guo Lingshui's finger pointing at him? I also got a piece of news that a guy named the Lord of Guiyuan is going to take over the Wanzhou Mountain. Grandma Sequan said again. Chen Shang was even more certain that the reason for the turmoil in Wanzhou Mountain was that Guo Lingshe was making trouble inside. World-Defying Dan God Chapter 4830, Ghost Abyss Beast. The internal turmoil in Wanzhou Mountain should be considered good news at first glance, but Chen Shang and the others thought about it carefully, but suddenly felt that this was not a good thing. Even though Guo Lingshe gave up 2 of the fates she just cultivated, she still has a very high soul sea cultivation base, and she is also the leader of the evil spirits of Guiyuan. This means that the 10 Guiyuan evil gods in Wanzhou Mountain should all obey Guo Lingshe. If Guo Lingshe wins Wanzhou Mountain, she will be able to summon a large number of Guiyuan evil gods to come. There is no way for Chen Shang and the others to stop the summoning ceremony inside Wanzhou Mountain. There are a lot of creatures in Wanzhou Mountain. What are they doing inside? Chen Shang and the others are very difficult to stop. If there are more and more Guiyuan evil spirits in Wanzhou Mountain, as long as Guo Lingshe leads Guiyuan evil spirits into the world-defying universe, he will be able to create a great storm, and the world-defining universe will never be peaceful. Grandma Sequan, how intense is the turmoil in Wanzhou Mountain? Chen Shang asked. I don't know now, because the latest news hasn't come out yet. I just know that a guy from Yishan named the Lord of Guiyuan is going to take over the Wanzhou Mountain. Grandma Sequan said. Xiao Shen, are you in a hurry? Entering Wanzhou Mountain? Yes, there are some guys in there that must be eliminated. Chen Shang said. Wanzhou Shen is too much a threat to the world-defying universe, we can't just sit still and make a scene. If you go in now, it should also be a good time. There is chaos in Wanzhou Mountain, and it is easier for you to mix in and make trouble," said Grandma Sequan. "If you have the latest news, remember to contact me immediately," Chen Shang said. "Got it," Grandma Su Quan replied. Chen Shang was not sure whether he wanted to enter Wanzhou Mountain or not. "Ah Ying, Zhang Wei, is it appropriate for us to enter Wanzhou Mountain now?" Chen Shang asked. "The information that my friend gave me is relatively limited, and he can't know anything deeper." Grandma Sequan only knew that there was turmoil in Wanzhou Mountain, but she didn't know who was causing the turmoil inside. And Chen Shang could guess that it was Guo Lingshe who wanted to seize the control of Wanzhou Mountain, that's why the chaos came. First of all, Guo Lingshe is the evil spirit of Guiyuan who was summoned. But she was summoned by the Hall of Fate and Soul. Zhang Wei said. There are 10 evil spirits of Guiyuan in Wanzhou Mountain, and they were summoned by Wanzhou Mountain. Even if Guo Lingshe I can win over the 10 Guiyuan evil gods, but I can't instruct them to attack Wanzhou Mountain. That's right, the evil spirits Guiyuan summoned by Wanzhou Mountain have signed the oath of a different heaven, and they dare not attack Wanzhou Mountain. Ying Kuang nodded and said, so Guo Lingshe can't command them, then inside Wanzhou Mountain, it's still very stable for the time being. So, when Guo Lingshe entered Wanzhou Mountain, he was only one person. Chen Shang frowned and said, could it be that Guo Lingshe was making trouble in the dark? Maybe Wanzhou Mountain didn't even know that Guo Lingshe did it. Sir, we were in Yathianyu City in the Demon Soul Starfield before, and it was Guo Lingshe, a little bastard, who was making trouble in the dark. Ying Kuang said, it is very likely that she will use a similar routine to mess up Wanzhou Mountain, and then look for it. The opportunity to lead Wanzhou Mountain and make Wanzhou Mountain obey her orders. Grandma Sequan said before that there is a power from Yishan who wants to take over the Wanzhou Mountain, which means that Guo Lingshe is in the name of Yishan. But the Lord of Wanzhou is not a vegetarian, and he will definitely not hand it over. Chen Shang analyzed. Wanzhou Mountain is so huge, and the Lord of Wanzhou is not an idiot. He will definitely not hand over to others. Ying Kuang said. That's fine, let's go to Wanzhou Mountain for a spin. After Chen Shang finished speaking, he controlled the six-path mirror and flew to the Golden Star. The entrance of Wanzhou Mountain is built inside the star. The golden liquid on the surface of this golden star is energy, and it is also full of corrosiveness. Fortunately, Chen Shang has the six paths divine mirror, otherwise it would be very difficult to pass through these golden liquids. Chen Shang soon came to the center of the golden stars and saw a black hole, which was the entrance to Wanzhou Mountain. When approaching the past, Chen Shang felt a terrifying twisting force. If he was not careful, he would be torn apart by that hole at any time. Chen Shang cautiously controlled the divine mirror of six paths to enter the black hole, then passed through a space passage, and soon came to Wanzhou Mountain. I'm back again. After Chen Shang appeared in Wanzhou Mountain, he immediately determined that this was in the heavenless domain. The domain of no heaven is the center of Wanzhou Mountain, which is equivalent to the universe heart palace of Wanzhou Mountain. What shocked Chen Shang was that this heavenless domain was now shattered, the surrounding space cracked, and bursts of tyrannical energy waves rushed over from time to time. This place has experienced a very fierce battle. Ying Kuang said with a look of horror. This level of power is stronger than the evil spirit of Guiyuan. Guo Lingshe is far less than that. Is it the Lord of Guiyuan? Coming. The Lord of Guiyuan, it's good to meet him here. Chen Shang looked around and said, there is still his residual breath here, maybe we can find him. It's not the Lord of Guiyuan. Zhang Wei said with a solemn expression, this kind of breath, it really comes from Guiyuan. In other words, Guiyuan has sent stronger guys. How did they come? Did they pass the summons? But that's impossible. The things summoned from the Wanzhou Mountain altar said that they can't attack Wanzhou Mountain. Ying Kuang shook his head. It's also possible that Guo Lingshe summoned it. Zhang Wei said, we don't know if Guo Lingshe has an altar in her hand. It's like she carries multiple altars with her. After entering Wanzhou Mountain, she asked the Lord of Wanzhou to borrow hundreds of millions of people. As a sacrifice. Not bad. Chen Shang nodded and said, the Lord of Wanzhou is definitely willing to lend it to her. After all, the Hall of Fate and Soul has been destroyed like that. Wanzhoushan also hopes that Guo Lingshe can win enough Guiyuan as soon as possible. Evil God. If that's the case, Guo Lingshe has brought a very scary guy from Guiyuan. Zhang Wei closed his eyes, sensed the breath, and frowned. This breath is not from Guo Lingshe, nor from other evil spirits in Guiyuan. It's from a beast. Beasts. Ying Kuang immediately became vigilant and looked around. Guiyuan's beast. Could it be? Jiang Wei's expression suddenly changed, and he said, let's go, let's go. Come up quickly, Chen Shang shouted. Jiang Wei and Ying Kuang both jumped onto the Six Paths Divine Mirror. Chen Shang immediately controlled the Six Paths Divine Mirror to hang in the air, and then flew in the air at an extremely fast speed. The interior of Heavenless Domain was devastated and devastated. When he came last time, the environment inside was still very good. But now the earth is cracked everywhere, and there is a black mist, and there is no plant at all. Any living things in it have disappeared, and the rivers and lakes are all dry and desolate. It's you. Suddenly a black figure flew over, and it turned out to be Guoling Shay, who was bruised all over her body. Guoling Shay was also very surprised to see Chen Shang and the others. He never expected that they would be able to enter Wanzhou Mountain. World Defying Dan God Chapter 4831, Besieged. Guoling Shay had guessed that Chen Shang and the others were in Wanzhou Mountain before, but they didn't expect her to be injured, and it looked like she was seriously injured. Go to hell. After Guoling Shay saw Chen Shang, he waved and threw out many fist-sized beads. It was densely packed, covering Chen Shang and the others like a shower. Although Chen Shang and the others were protected by the divine mirror of six paths, they were not able to avoid the falling beads in time. Boom boom boom. Those beads fell on the protective cover of the six paths divine mirror, causing bursts of explosions, and purple thunder and fire splashed. The sound was very loud, but Chen Shang and the others did not feel much power in the divine mirror of six paths. After the series of explosions ended, Guoling Shay disappeared. She ran away. Ying Kuang cursed in a low voice. Let's run. Those things were not used to attack us, but to lure Guiyuan beasts. Jiang Wei suddenly shouted. Guiyuan vicious beast. Ying Kuang frowned, feeling very familiar, but he couldn't remember what it was for a while. Senior, haven't you heard of Guiyuan beasts? Jiang Wei's face turned pale, and he hurriedly said, it's something like Guiyuan. His uncles. This kind of thing has not been completely exterminated. Ying Kuang suddenly remembered, and cursed in a low voice, are they crazy? To bring this kind of thing back to life. I don't know what's going on, anyway, let's run. Jiang Wei shouted. Chen Shang immediately controlled the Six Paths Divine Mirror to fly quickly. Although he didn't know what the ghostly beast was, he could guess that Wanzhou Mountain's current appearance must be created by the ghostly beast. As soon as the Six Paths Divine Mirror took off, a burst of spatial fluctuations suddenly struck in all directions. Can these things pass through space? Chen Shang was shocked, and let Sister Xiaojing concentrate his strength and control the Six Paths Divine Mirror to jump in space. The Divine Mirror of Six Paths was just about to make a space jump, but found that there were huge beasts all around. These beasts were all covered with hard armor or spikes, and their whole bodies were golden. They are all shaped like lions, tigers, leopards, jackals, these beasts, but they are huge. The most incredible thing is that although these beasts are huge, they are extremely flexible, and they seem to be able to communicate and cooperate with each other. There were so many Guiyuan beasts that suddenly appeared. There were many types. They should have been summoned by those huge beads that Guoling Shay had just thrown out. No, there is no way to perform space jumping. Chen Shang said solemnly. These things can block space. This was unexpected by Chen Shang, which shows how terrifying these ghostly beasts are. The Guiyuan vicious beast that suddenly attacked was a winged purple gold scorpion with a body shaped like an elephant. Although it didn't look too small, it was considered very small among this group of Guiyuan vicious beasts. Because they are relatively small, they will be more flexible when attacking Chen Shang, so those giant ghostly beasts didn't move, they just watched the battle around. The Guiyuan vicious beasts looked very rational, they didn't roar, they were very quiet, and at the same time they jointly released space power to block the space, preventing Chen Shang and the others from escaping. The purple gold scorpion rushing over was still slow, and the Six Paths Divine Mirror easily avoided it. However, when the scorpion's body trembled, the shock wave that erupted almost tore the protective cover of the Six Paths Divine Mirror. Chen Shang and the others could feel the terrifying power of that power in the Divine Mirror of Six Paths. This is the power of the Guiyuan beast. It's terrible. Jiang Wei gritted his teeth and said, Mr. Shen, we have to rush out as soon as possible. Chen Shang also realized that if he continued, when those huge beasts reacted, they would attack collectively, and it would be even more difficult to escape at that time. Sister Jing, do your best. Chen Shang said to Sister Xiaojing. A majestic energy suddenly burst out from the inside of the Six Paths Divine Mirror, and then it instantly became huge. Those Guiyuan vicious beasts watching the battle were all at a relatively far distance, and some were even standing on a giant mountain, so they watched the battle in a circle. The divine mirror of Six Paths instantly became huge, pushing all the ferocious beasts out. If you look at it from a high altitude, the suddenly enlarged Six Paths divine mirror spreads out like a shock wave, sweeping everything around and flattening the giant mountains. The most terrifying thing is that after the Six Paths divine mirror instantly becomes larger, it becomes smaller instantly, and then the space jump is performed. The group of Guiyuan fierce beasts did not expect this. After they were scattered by the enlarged Six Paths mirror, there was no way to block the space, so the Six Paths mirror could quickly jump away. Guo She, whose head was bleeding, was suspended in the air in the distance and scolded in a low voice, "What the asterisk 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 is that? Even Yishan doesn't have such a powerful artifact. I must grab that mirror." After Chen Shang ran away, the group of Guiyuan vicious beasts also continued to chase. Some small flying birds and beasts were very fast. They could chase after the spatial fluctuations of the Six Paths divine mirror, and they also jumped space to catch up. Those guys are catching up. After Chen Shang felt it, he immediately told Ying Kuang. Just some bird stuff. Ying Kuang also suddenly saw that there were more than a dozen golden blue birds as huge as cows. Among the beasts of Guiyuan, they were very small, but they were also very powerful. "We can't stop. Once we stop, these birds will summon their large army," Chen Shang said. "You have to get rid of these things quickly." The divine mirror of Six Paths continuously jumps in space, and the speed is still very fast. Those birds can't catch up in a short time, they can only follow the residual fluctuations in the space. Those ghostly beasts are really terrifying. Ying Kuang exclaimed with lingering fears, "If it's only one or two, then we can still handle it. There are so many, how can we fight? The appearance of Guiyuan beasts is very strange. I only know that they came from Guiyuan. Guo Lingshe still has a way to lure them, which shows that it has a lot to do with Guiyuan, and it should be regarded as Guiyuan's power." Zhang Wei said. "These things are more powerful than the evil spirits of Guiyuan. How did they come to Wanzhou Mountain?" Chen Shang frowned and said, "Could it be that this kind of thing is not restricted from other heavens to Wanzhou Mountain?" "There are two possibilities," Ying Kuang guessed. "Either there is a passage in Wanzhou Mountain and it is connected to Yishan, or these ghostly beasts were cultivated in Wanzhou Mountain. No matter what kind of possibility is, it's not a good thing." Zhang Wei shook his head and said, "If this group of things rush into the world-defying universe, it will definitely be finished." "Wait, Guo Lingshe is injured, who hurt her? Wasn't the group of ghostly beasts hurting her?" Chen Shang said. "The wounds on her body are all sword wounds. And the injuries are not light. She can approach her with a sword and directly injure her body. This guy's strength is also very strong," Ying Kuang said. World-Defying Dan God Chapter 4832, Guardian of the Universe. In Wanzhou Mountain, the strongest person should be the Lord of Wanzhou. Could it be that the Lord of the Universe is resisting Guo Lingshe? Chen Shang said, "Isn't this going against Yishan? Wanzhou Mountain is a huge existence anyway. As the master of Wanzhou Mountain, it is indeed not so easy to give in." Although Zhang Wei said this, he was still very puzzled, and said, "No, Wanzhou Mountain should still be restored. There are other powerful guys. Although the Lord of the Universe is very strong, I don't think he is too strong." "Isn't the Lord of the Universe as powerful as Guo Lingshe?" Chen Shang said. "It's stronger than Guo Lingshe, that's for sure. But it's not strong enough to hurt Guo Lingshe so close." Zhang Wei said, "According to my experience, Guo Lingshe was seriously injured in an instant after being approached by someone. It was hard to escape." "Yes, she has multiple sword wounds on her body." Ying Kuang nodded and said, "Maybe there were other Guiyuan evil gods at that time, that is to say, all the Guiyuan evil gods in Wanzhou Mountain besieged that person, and then they didn't. The enemy, Guo Lingshe, is also injured. There are 10 Guiyuan evil gods in Wanzhou Mountain. Because the Lord of Wanzhou summoned them down, they cannot conflict with the Lord of Wanzhou, so those evil spirits of Guiyuan will definitely avoid the Lord of Wanzhou. Then there is only one possibility." Chen Shang suddenly remembered something. "What's the possibility?" Ying Kuang and Zhang Wei asked at the same time. "My master once said that the alien universe can create a guardian deity. It takes the life and soul of the universe, the bones of the universe, the marrow of the universe and other things to create a very powerful guardian deity. This guardian deity, well, you can use the power of the universe to fight. Chen Shang said. He also planned to extract and copy those things from himself before, and try to see if he could create a Patronus, but he never had time to try it, and he didn't know how to try it. Because this requires Huang Jintian's cooperation, but Huang Jintian is now carrying the world-defying temple and is sealed in a Xie domain. That Xie domain is in the second dimension of the world-defying universe, and Shen Yuanxin is helping to unblock it little by little, and it will take some time before Ro, the patron saint. I've heard this statement before. Ying Kuang frowned. Young master, can you be more specific? Afterwards, Chen Shang said again that this Patronus plan was originally created by the Great Fate Soul of the universe, but then the Great Fate Soul of the universe dissipated, and part of the memory was absorbed by Huang Jintian, so Huang Jintian wanted to continue this plan. Ah Ying, what have you ever heard of? Chen Shang asked curiously, because Ying Kuang is now looking contemplative and recalling. Didn't I say something about the third ancestors of the heavens before? Ying Kuang said, because there is a legend that the third ancestors used some very special souls, bones, marrow, and blood to create powerful gods. Later, he became the 5 emperors. Ah, Chen Shang was very surprised. Zhang Wei is the same. Could it be that there is such a guardian deity in Wanzhou Mountain? Chen Shang said in horror. The strength must be very strong, after all, it can use the power of the entire Wanzhou Mountain. It's very possible. Ying Kuang's expression became more and more solemn, and he said, maybe Wanzhou Mountain will also participate in the battle for the new emperor. What nonsense is the new emperor of Yishan? They are fighting, don't mess up the world-defining universe. Now a bunch of ghostly beasts are in Wanzhou Mountain, if they are released, the world-defining universe can't stop it. Chen Shang had a headache, there were too many ghostly beasts here, and he didn't know where they came from. There really is a passage from Guiyuan to Wanzhou Mountain, and then from Wanzhou Mountain to World Aosphere Universe, then Chen Shang must block the gap in Wanzhou Mountain. Let's go out first, Ying Kuang said. Sister Xiaojing immediately controlled the 6 paths mirror and went to the exit that Grandma Siquan told him. The place was very complicated, but Sister Xiaojing could sense the spatial fluctuations of the exit through the 6 paths mirror, and then jumped directly over. The exit is located in a space inside Wanzhou Mountain, which is a large black vortex. After the 6-path divine mirror flew into the large vortex, a group of ghostly beasts immediately appeared in this space. First, the ghostly beasts in the form of birds came, and suddenly all kinds of giant ghosts and beasts came jumping from space. No need to chase. Guo Lingshe also suddenly appeared and said, let's kill that Wanzhou Patronus first. Only by winning Wanzhou Mountain can this place become our Guiyuan's territory, and then it will be much easier to catch that guy. Quote. Guo Lingshe also knew very well that Chen Shang was very cunning, and it was too difficult to catch him. Now he spread his strength to catch Chen Shang, and he was still in the world-defying universe, so it was easy to fall for Chen Zhang's trap. After Chen Shang flew out of Wanzhou Mountain, he immediately destroyed the golden star. This star was the passage to and from Wanzhou Mountain. In a short period of time, Wan Zhoushan won't do anything for the time being, right? Chen Shang heaved a sigh of relief. There are still several passages, I know where they are. Zhang Wei said. Those passages are relatively small, and they are also open passages, which means that the defense is stronger. Apart from you, there shouldn't be other alien heretic gods in the world-defying universe now. Where can the strong defensive power be? Take me to those passages. Chen Shang urged. Chen Shang remembered that the world-defying temple and the 100 Flowers temple had tried to stop Wan Zhoushan from entering, but in the end they couldn't stop it. And now with the help of Ying Kuang and Zhang Wei, they should be able to block the passage of Wanzhou Mountain. Under Zhang Wei's guidance, Chen Shang asked the 6 paths divine mirror to jump in space, and quickly found those space passages. There were indeed many people from Wanzhou Mountain guarding, and the overall strength was also very strong. Seeing the strength of those people, Chen Shang also understood that the world-defying temple and the 100 Flowers temple could not stop them, but they retreated after holding on for a while, because the other party was really too strong. However, the strength of Ying Kuang and Zhang Wei is more than enough to deal with those people, after all, they are alien evil gods. Chen Shang didn't need to take action at all, just the 2 of them went over and killed most of the Wanzhou army guarding the passage, and the others fled, and ran back to Wanzhou Mountain through the space passage. Chen Shang contacted Shen Yuanxin and cooperated with the power of the 6 paths divine mirror to seal the cracked space channel. In just a few days, the passage from Wanzhou Mountain to the world-defying universe was blocked. Chen Shang also learned a piece of good news from Shen Yuanxin, because the Taoist sages have found many ancestral origins, so Shen Yuanxin has sealed those ancestral origins. The world-affectionate universe will usher in a brief period of peace. Chen Shang finally breathed a sigh of relief, then he would have time to fiddle with the Patronus that Huang Jintian said. However, just when he thought he could relax, Guan Yiyu sent a message to him. Xiaoshang, there is a big movement in the Demon Soul Star territory. World-Defying Dan God Chapter 4833, Ghosts. The Demon Soul Star territory is now the Evil Star territory, but Chen Shang remembered that Guo Lingshe, who he met there before, had said that her master would soon arrive at the Evil Star territory. The master of Guo Lingshe is the master of Guiyuan who created her. Guan Yiyu has been sending people to stare at the Demon Soul Starfield, mainly because she is thinking about Shen Tianyu, so now what's going on in the Demon Soul Starfield, she will know right away. Auntie, what's going on in the Demon Soul Star region? Chen Shang asked. It's the center of the Demon Soul Starfield, and a very strong light suddenly appeared. Guan Yiyu said, the energy of the entire Demon Soul Starfield is increasing, and the rate of increase is very fast. The Demon Soul Starfield was originally static, in that position, but moving slowly now. In this way, the movement is indeed not small. Chen Shang frowned, and squeezed a little bit of the communication talisman. He just thought that the hidden danger of Wanzhou Mountain was temporarily solved, but now something has happened in the Demon Soul Star territory. If the Demon Soul Star territory is really the Lord of Guiyuan running, then it is very likely that there will be a large number of Guiyuan vicious beasts and Guiyuan evil god inside the star territory. Chen Shang immediately told Ying Kuang and Zhang Wei the news. It seems that the Lord of Guiyuan is very eager to control the world-defying universe. Ying Kuang said, now it depends on whether the space wall of the world-defying universe is strong enough to stop the Demon Soul Star region. I hope you can block for a while. Chen Shang sighed and said, I didn't expect that the world-defying universe would fall into such a situation in such a short period of time. There's no way, that fate practice is too heaven-defying. They either want to this way of practice, or they want to destroy it. Zhang Wei said, but no matter what, it's all because of fate practice. They attach great importance to the world-defying universe. Chen Shang immediately returned to the Tianquan Star territory, and introduced Zhang Wei to Grandma Siquan, and asked Grandma Siquan to try it first and see if he could help him change the way of life cultivation. Ying Kuang was also there to help. Chen Shang didn't participate because he wanted to see if Grandma Siquan and Ying Kuang had enough ability to help a strong man like Zhang Wei change his lifestyle if he hadn't acted in person. Zhang Wei really hoped that Chen Shang would be in charge of helping him convert, but after thinking about it, he felt that it would be good to have Ying Kuang and Grandma Su Quan help. Because they have all successfully transferred to practice and were able to directly figure out the method of practice, they have a certain understanding of practice after transferring to practice, and they can provide Zhang Wei with a lot of experience in the practice of life, and they can also discuss with each other. Although Chen Shang also cultivated his lifestyle, his cultivation method can be said to be very different from theirs, so he can't give very suitable advice. Chen Shang really thought so, that's why he asked Grandma Siquan and Ying Kuang to help Zhang Wei change his cultivation. After arranging them, Chen Shang went to meet with Guan Yiyu, and talked with his mother about many things, such as the internal affairs of the Demon Soul Star territory and the previous trip to Wanzhou Mountain. After Guan Yiyu learned about these things, she also knew that Tianquan Star territory would definitely become a target at that time. There are still many remnants in the Hall of Fate and Soul, and I have sent people to destroy them. Guan Yiyu said. Auntie, you have to get more people to convert to fate cultivation as soon as possible. Chen Shang said. After cultivating fate, all aspects have improved greatly, and the speed of cultivation will also increase very quickly. Got it. Guan Yiyu nodded and said, I've been making arrangements recently. That's it. Chen Shang left Guan Yiyu's residence and immediately headed to the second dimension of the world-defying universe. Both the 100 Flowers Temple and the World-Defying Temple are trapped in the same star field. Chen Shang can't contact them now, and he can't go in by himself. He is worried that it will take time to get out, or that there is a time difference inside and outside. Xiao Yuanxin, do you know the movement of the Demon Soul Star region? Chen Shang asked. World-defying universe has many star regions, and each star region is moving. After Shen Yuanxin heard Chen Shang mention it, she paid attention to the Demon Soul Star region, and said in surprise, Dad, the Demon Soul Star region is moving fast. Yes, Chen Shang said. Oops, it seems that my perception of the world-defying universe is getting more and more sluggish. Shen Yuanxin sighed and said, Dad, as the world-defining universe is getting stronger and stronger, I seem to be a little powerless. This may be because I also need to for the sake of double space. Although Shen Yuanxin is the origin of the universe, her spiritual consciousness is also limited, and because of the influx of a large number of ancestral sources of creation, the majestic creation force causes the universe to rapidly expand, plus she has 2 more. Heavy space, so it will be very slow to the changes of the world-defying universe. Little Yuan Xin, so, with the rapid expansion of the world-defying universe, will your control over the world-defying universe become weaker and weaker? Chen Shang asked. Yeah, the world-old universe has grown so fast, this is something I didn't expect before. Shen Yuanxin sighed. It seems that this is intentional. Chen Shang took a deep breath. He recalled what Grandma Linglong said before, that there are many other universes like Wanzhou Mountain hidden in addition to the world-defying universe. These big and small, deeply hidden alien universes are also constantly making the world-defying universe stronger and expanding. It is very likely that the Yuanxin of the world-defining universe will lose its control. Little Yuanxin, how can you quickly become stronger? Chen Shang asked. I also need to practice, it's fine to sleep for a while. Shen Yuanxin said, however, it seems that I can't sleep for too long now, because the situation of the world-defining universe is very bad. Xiao Yuanxin, you can rest assured and go to sleep. Chen Shang said. At this stage, the world-defying universe is relatively stable for the time being. Okay, Shen Yuanxin did not retreat much during this period of time, and was mainly sealing those ancestral sources of creation. By the way, Dad, before I fall asleep, I will try to limit the demon soul star field. I always feel that the demon soul star field is quite dangerous. Shen Yuanxin said. Okay. Chen Shang is also relieved now. Shen Yuanxin began to use the power of the world-defying universe to limit the demon soul star field. After Chen Shang left the double universe, he immediately made a space jump and came to the vicinity of the demon soul star field. The huge star field that was moving very fast just now is gradually slowing down. Shen Yuanxin has indeed restricted the movements of the demon soul starfield, and can temporarily stop the movement of the demon soul starfield. Chen Shang originally planned to visit a sealed ancestral source of creation, but suddenly received news from Ying Kuang. Sir, Guo Lingshe is outside the Tianquan star territory. Ying Kuang said, Siquan and I are helping Zhang Wei to change his life, we can't go out for the time being, come back as soon as possible. Guo Lingshe was in Wanzhou Mountain before, and the space passage from Wanzhou Mountain to the world-defying universe was blocked, why is it appearing now? Chen Shang immediately passed the Six Paths Divine Mirror, made a space jump, and arrived at the position that Ying Kuang said outside the Tianquan star territory. Ying Kuang just knew that Guo Lingshe was here, because he was very familiar with Guo Lingshui's breath now. Chen Shang, you are really everywhere. Guo Lingshe, who was wearing a white dress, saw Chen Shang, and said coldly, you haunted fellow, I will kill you today. Do you like this sight? Donate here. World-Defying Dan God Chapter 4834, Enemies of All Universes. Chen Shang was certain that the Guo Lingshe in front of him was the one who was injured in Wanzhou Mountain before, because there are too many puppets like Guo Lingshe, and they have shared memories so they have to distinguish them when they meet them. Guo Lingshe was also sure that Chen Shang did not take Ying Kuang with him. If Ying Kuang and Zhang Wei were by his side, she might not be able to fight. If only Chen Shang was alone, Guo Lingshe would not be afraid at all. She thought that even if she couldn't kill Chen Shang, she would not be killed by Chen Shang. I remember that when you were in Wanzhou Mountain before, you were seriously injured. You are injured now. Chen Shang laughed, and then called out the Qinglong Demon Slayer sword. His hand was already on the handle. Even if I only have half of my body left, it's more than enough to kill you. Guo Lingshe sneered. Chen Shang, why are you here? Shouldn't this star field be your territory? It's not my territory, I was just following you, and then I came here. Chen Shang looked at the Tianquan star region and said. After this star field has been transformed, the overall change is very big, not only very beautiful, but also because of the arrangement of various constellations to form a large array. It looks like two entangled flowers, countless stars blooming extremely strongly light. No matter how you look at it, you know that this star field is very strong. Where's Ying Kuang? Guo Lingshe said coldly, is that guy dead? Guo Lingshe, who hurt you in Wanzhou Mountain before? Chen Shang asked. Guo Lingshe has never made a move. She is also investigating the surrounding situation to see if Ying Kuang is hiding nearby. If Ying Kuang is there, she will not dare to mess around. Because Chen Shang looks like a bait now, he is not afraid of her at all, and he has to fight with her, so she is very vigilant. You want to know? I'm afraid it will scare you to death. Guo Lingshe said. Wanzhou Mountain has a patron saint. Sooner or later you will meet him and tell you, the group of ghostly beasts that hunted you down before were all killed by that the guy is done. When Chen Shang heard this news, his heart was greatly shocked. He knew very well how powerful the group of Guiyuan beasts were, and they were all killed. Really? Chen Shang couldn't believe it, his face suddenly became solemn. Don't lie to you, although the group of Guiyuan beasts are not the strongest in our Guiyuan, they are also very strong. You have encountered them before, so you should know. After Guo Lingshe finished speaking, she looked around again and continued, Wan Zhoushan's ultimate goal is to make the universe proud, you can't keep it. Ying Kuang is not nearby, you don't need to be on guard against him, if you want to make a move, make a move. Chen Shang said. I don't believe your nonsense. Guo Lingshe always felt deceitful, so she hesitated to take action, and continued, what happened to the demon soul star field you mentioned? Is there a force that restricts that demon? Soul star territory. That's right, what's wrong? Chen Shang also wanted to know the situation in the demon soul star region, and asked instead, your master is in that star region. Wan Zhoushan will reopen the channel soon, and then enter the world-defying universe. Their patron saint is terrible, and only my master can deal with him. Guo Lingshe said, although I don't know how you seal a star field, but you must have a way to lift the seal. You want me to break the seal, release your master, and let him fight against the patron saint of Wanzhou Mountain. Chen Shang chuckled. Not bad, Guo Lingshe replied. Dream it, Chen Shang said with a cold face, and decisively refused. Aren't the Lord of Guiyuan entering the world-defying universe and the Lord of Wan universe entering the world-defying universe like a bird? It's not the same. The fact that these two forces enter the world-defying universe will disrupt the entire world-defying universe, but they will also fight each other for a long time. You natives of the world-defying universe will have time to breathe. Guo Lingshe said. You think about it carefully. Consider it. What are you doing here suddenly? Chen Shang looked at Tianquan star region again and asked. This star territory is very good, and the whole is very good. It is very suitable for transforming into a star evil territory. I came to observe this star territory. Guo Lingshe said. I just happened to meet you. Guo Lingshe, how many of you have the Lord of Guiyuan created? Chen Shang asked, then clenched the handle of the knife. Many, even I don't know. Guo Lingshe answered truthfully, and said, so I am immortal. If you kill this me, my memory will be passed on to other Guo Lingshes. The memories they get will be equivalent to rebirth. I will continue to hate you. Who is your prototype? Chen Shang said, did the Lord of Guiyuan create you in the image of someone? That guy Ying Kuang told you. That guy really knows a lot. Guo Lingshe sneered. I do have a prototype, she is a big person. As for what she is like, I don't know, her master didn't tell me, I only know that my master admires her very much. If I kill you, your memory will float back, right? Chen Shang asked. Somewhere in the world-defying universe, there is a memory bead that I placed. That bead is synchronizing my memory all the time. After you kill me, the memory bead will float in the world-defining universe, and then another Guo Lingshe will come. When you go to Aoshi universe, you will perceive that bead. Guo Lingshe said. So, your master won't know your memories right away. Chen Shang said. No, Guo Lingshe said, you want to kill me? Seriously, I don't see that you have this kind of strength. If you're Ying Kuang, it's not too bad. With my personal strength, it's really hard to kill you. Chen Shang said with a smile. You have a mirror, it is indeed a very powerful artifact. Why, don't you put that mirror out yet? Guo Lingshe had seen Chen Zhang's Six Paths Divine Mirror, and it could become very huge. I don't think it's necessary to use the Divine Mirror of Six Paths in order to kill you. Chen Shang said, I have a precious divine weapon, and it has something to do with you. It's because of you that it has been greatly improved. Guo Lingshe frowned. No matter how she thought about it, she couldn't understand why she could make Chen Zhang's divine weapon stronger. After Chen Shang finished speaking, a red silk thread suddenly appeared. It looked very thin and emitted a gentle fiery red light. This is the vermilion bird tenderness silk. It has not been refined yet, but it can be used, and it has changed a lot, and it can become very small. What is this? Guo Lingshe frowned and stared at Suzaku tenderness. She could see that she was a little strong, but she didn't think she could be killed by this thing. I don't know what power it has, so I'll try it with you now. As soon as Chen Zhang's voice fell, Suzaku's tenderness suddenly flashed, and it rushed past like a light. Guo Lingshe suddenly felt a little familiar. The cracking worm was also silk thread before, but it didn't show up. Chen Shang had forged the mother body of the scourge worm into the tenderness of the vermilion bird, and he also forged a lot of powerful materials. When Guo Lingshe realized it, her body had already been bound by that Suzaku tenderness silk, and the silk thread had branched out a lot, pierced directly into her body, and spread all over her body in a short time. World Defying Dan God Chapter 4835, Zuyuan People. It was just a thread just now, but now it seems to be spreading like branches and loose leaves, and countless threads burst out in an instant, wreaking havoc in Guo Lingshui's body. Guo Lingshe can't move now. Chen Shang rushed over and slammed her head with a palm. With a loud sound of thunder, Guo Lingshui's head shattered instantly. Chen Shang was also surprised to discover just now that after his body was penetrated by the tenderness of the vermilion bird, his body would become much weaker. The mother body of the scourge worm has not been completely refined into the Suzaku tenderness, and it will take some time, but now Suzaku tenderness has shown a very amazing power. Chen Shang took back the Suzaku tenderness silk, then took out the 6 paths divine mirror, put Guo Lingshui's body in it, and handed it over to Sister Xiaojing. Sister Xiaojing had obtained another puppet body from Guo Lingshe before, and now she has obtained another puppet body. Although she lost her head, it did not affect her. She could absorb and fuse this puppet body. Brother, the parent body of the scourge worm has a strong splitting ability, and it can also petrify. It has not yet been fully integrated, so the petrochemical ability has not been reflected. Said Sister Xiaojing. It will take a long time to achieve perfection. But it can be used now. When you can't use it, put it in the furnace and practice it. Chen Shang put the vermilion bird tenderness silk into the world-defying divine furnace and continued to refine it. There is still a lot of energy from the mother body of the scourge worm inside the arrogant ***** furnace, so there is still a lot of room for improvement in Suzaku tenderness. Brother, Guo Lingshui's body is already seriously injured. Otherwise, it's really hard to deal with. Sister Xiaojing got Guo Lingshui's body and immediately checked and found that the injury was very serious. Yeah, she's too conceited and underestimates me too much, otherwise she wouldn't fall into my hands. Chen Shang said. That guardian deity of the universe is really powerful, it can actually hurt Guo Lingshui's powerful body to such a degree. Sister Xiaojing exclaimed. If we encounter that guy, we have to be careful. It's better not to be with him. Hit hard, don't let him get close. Got it. Chen Shang is indeed very worried now. The hidden power of Wanzhou Mountain is far beyond his imagination. The group of Guiyuan vicious beasts they encountered before was very terrifying. They all thought that Wanzhou Mountain would be turned upside down by the group of Guiyuan vicious beasts. Well done. Chen Shang now somewhat understands why Huang Jintian wanted to create a Patronus so much before. It seems that he is really strong. It's just that he has no clue now, and doesn't know how to start creating it. The biggest problem is that the materials for creating the Patronus are all in his body, and he needs to extract and copy it from his own body. Chen Shang contacted the sages who created Tao, and he planned to take a look at those ancestral sources of creation. Most of the ancestral sources of creation have been sealed, and they cannot be disturbed in a short period of time, so that the world-defying universe can have a short period of peace. After contacting the Taoist sages, Chen Shang locked his position and jumped over immediately. Xiao Shen, this ancestral source of creation is relatively small. The Taoist sage pointed to the little star in front of him that radiated strong heat, and said, if you want to study the ancestral source of creation, it is best to start from a young age. Quote. That's what I mean. Chen Shang nodded and said, then how can I see the original body of the ancestral source of creation now? It's very simple, smash this star to pieces, and that little ancestral source of creation will be exposed. The Taoist sage smiled and said, this shouldn't be difficult for you, right? It's not difficult. Chen Shang released the divine mirror of 6 paths and said with a smile, I don't plan to smash it. The divine mirror of 6 paths flew over the star, and then became larger and swirled, swallowing the energy of the star, consuming the stars layer by layer. It didn't take long for a white light group to appear inside the star, emitting a dazzling white light. Idiot! Suddenly a voice came out, roaring, "Do you know what I am? I am the ancestor of creation from another world, you bastards, you should kneel and lick me. Otherwise, you will die very badly. Terrible. You can still talk." Chen Shang was also surprised when he heard the voice of the ancestral source of creation. This huge white light group is entangled by many golden chains, which is the seal under Shen Yuan's heart. Although the ancestral source of creation in the world-defying universe has been sealed, it can still release the power of creation, but it only limits the powerful spiritual power of the ancestral source of creation. There is a strong space source inside these things. Sister Xiaojing said. Brother, they should be connected to the world-defying universe and Yishan through that space source. What kind of space source? Chen Shang was very curious. It should be something similar to the space orb, and it's very strong. Sister Xiaojing said. How do you say it? I guess that there is a huge space source in Yishan, and then these ancestral sources of creation are all inside. There is a small one, so that they can connect to the mother source of Yishan. That is to say, these large and small ancestral origins were all born from that mother origin. Chen Shang was very surprised. It should be. If this is the case, then these ancestral sources of creation are just branches. Sister Xiaojing said. These things are not clones, because they all have independent consciousness. These ancestral origins came to an unfamiliar universe, and then sent a lot of Genesis power over. What are these ancestral origins trying to do? What's the point of doing this? Just to control a universe. What benefits will they get in the end? Chen Shang couldn't understand. I don't know, Sister Xiaojing said. Brother, should we cut open an ancestral source of creation and see the internal structure? Chen Shang just used Shinmingyan, but he couldn't see anything, and little Sister Xiaojing couldn't detect anything. If you want to understand the ancestral source of creation, you can only cut it open to see the internal structure. It seems a bit difficult. Chen Shang took out the Azure Dragon Demon Slayer sword. Let me come. As soon as Sister Xiaojing's voice fell, the divine mirror of 6 paths flew out, and it became very thin at the same time. The flake-like divine mirror of 6 paths looks very sharp, spins up quickly, and then flies towards the huge white light group. Xiao Shen, what are you doing? After seeing the Taoist sage, he exclaimed. He thought that Chen Shang was going to attack the ancestral source of the world. Try it and see if you can cut it open. Chen Shang said with a smile. Senior, be prepared, there may be a lot of movement later. The speed of the 6 paths divine mirror's own rotation, coupled with the fast-flying speed, directly cut across it, instantly cutting the ancestral source of creation in half from the middle. At the moment when the ancestral source of creation was cut, a strong white light wave erupted. Chen Shang and Huang Jintian both hurriedly used their powerful strength to resist. Damn bastards! They heard someone yelling angrily, and they felt someone flying over. There are actually people inside the ancestral source of creation. World-Defying Dan God Chapter 4836, Yi Yu Tianlei. The person who suddenly flew over was very strong, and they just heard the roar of that person, and they felt an extremely terrifying aura coming over. After that, there was a thunderous explosion, and countless lightnings suddenly fell, shrouding Chen Shang and the sages who created the Tao. The divine mirror of 6 paths also responded very quickly, and hurriedly hovered over Chen Shang and the others to block the falling lightning. However, that kind of lightning was coming from all directions, and the divine mirror of 6 paths also released its shield to protect Chen Shang and the sages who created the Tao. However, that shield only lasted for a short time, and was shattered by the violent thunder and lightning. Chen Shang and the sages who created the Tao could only resist with their own strength. The violent thunder and lightning struck them, making their bodies numb and painful, and the thunder and lightning entered their bodies, as if to tear their bodies apart. Fortunately, their bodies are strong, and they were not seriously injured, and the 6 paths divine mirror is now also using the 6 paths Taiji formation to activate the surrounding thunder and lightning, so that all the lightning strikes on the 6 paths divine mirror. Be careful of that guy. Chen Shang shouted in a hurry, but it was too late, because the abdomen of the Taoist sage was suddenly punched through from behind. The person who ran from the ancestral source of the world is already standing behind the sages of Taoism. He is a sturdy middle-aged man. His skin is gray-white, his body is covered with gray-white scales, and his fists also have that kind of stiffness, will become scaly. Chen Shang immediately released Vermilion Bird's tender silk, and floated over in an instant, tying that person up, allowing him to rescue the sages who created the Tao. This Zuyuan person can easily kill the Taoist sages. If Chen Shang does not bind this person, the Taoist sages will definitely die. Girl mirror, Chen Shang shouted. The divine mirror of the six paths suddenly released the world-defying universe map. The sky is densely covered with stars, and the divine mirror of the six paths becomes incomparably huge, projecting countless stars, and thousands of constellations resonate with each other, forming a powerful formation. A lightning bolt condensed in the center of the mirror surface of the six paths divine mirror, shot out like light, and landed on the ancestral Yuan. Just now, Chen Shang could feel that Vermilion Bird's tenderness was almost broken free, but now the six paths divine mirror descended a lightning strike, causing the Zuyuan man to burst into an angry roar. This is Yi Tianlei. Damn bastards, how did you do it? The middle-aged man roared, then struggled furiously. Boom! The divine mirror of six paths once again dropped a golden thunderbolt, hitting the middle-aged body. Such a terrifying lightning strike did not injure the middle-aged man. Chen Shang and the sages of creating Tao also know at this moment that there are people inside the ancestral source of creation, and they are still very powerful. Fortunately, they are only breaking through a relatively small ancestral source of creation. If they break through a large ancestral source of creation, ghosts know how strong there will be in it. Brother, hurry up, Sister Xiaojing said to Chen Shang through voice transmission. Got it. Chen Shang took out the Qinglong Demon Slayer sword, and rushed towards the Zuyuan man. At the same time, the divine mirror of the six paths that released the world-defying cosmos map suddenly radiated a lot of light, condensing a beam of light and hitting Chen Shang. At the same time as Chen Shang swung the knife out, he also felt that a very heavy and tyrannical force was injected into the Qinglong Demon Slayer sword. The power condensed by these six divine mirrors through the world-defying universe map is very terrifying. At this moment, Chen Shang is holding the knife with both hands, and he can hardly hold it. The strength tore apart, he still held on. This knife slashed, and the Zuyuan person instantly disappeared, and there was a very huge space crack in the void, which was slashed by the Qinglong Demon Slayer. The Zuyuan person died, and the energy in his body swept through the universe like a stormy sea, as if it were a giant wave in the world-defying universe. Chen Shang knew very well that the ancestral talent was the core energy of the creation ancestral source, and now that it was killed, the energy also exploded. Done. Chen Shang took a breath, then looked at his hands. The bones were broken, and the flesh was blurred. Even the surface of the Azure Dragon Demon Slayer sword had many cracks. On the one hand, the energy injected by the six paths divine mirror is too strong. On the other hand, the energy that erupted from the Zuyuan human body when he chopped it just now also bounced back to the Qinglong Demon Slayer. Brother, get out of here, Sister Xiaojing said. The energy wave that erupted here is estimated to be transmitted to all parts of the Aoshi universe. It was just like an explosion of the ancestral source of creation. The divine mirror of six paths has also returned to its original state. It consumed a lot just now, and it also needs a period of rest. Senior, let's go, Chen Shang said, and then jumped onto the six paths divine mirror with the Taoist sages. The Taoist sages also have lingering fears. If not for Chen Shang, he would have been finished long ago. Xiao Shen, that guy is really scary. Are there people inside the ancestral source of the world? The sages who created the Tao felt very inconceivable and asked, why is there a person? It is a living body that has been cultivated within the ancestral source of the world. I don't know, but I can be sure that the guy just now is the core of the ancestral source of creation, which is equivalent to the soul and heart of the ancestral source of creation, or the core of energy. Chen Shang said, that guy should be able to get along with Yishan's mother source is related, maybe he can be reborn from Yishan's mother's source. Xiao Shen, I think there is still another possibility. The sages who created Tao said, there is a destiny within the ancestral source of creation. It's just different from the destiny we understand and recognize, and they shouldn't know that it is the destiny. It's just that these ancestral origins of creation have cultivated their destiny by mistake. There is a possibility, Chen Shang nodded repeatedly. Some of the ancestral origins of the world may not have people inside, but some artifacts, or gems, and flowers and plants are all possible. The Taoist sage said, it may even be a beast. There are so many ancestral sources for the creation of the world-defying universe. Let's break them down one by one. If there are really good things, then we will make a lot of money. Chen Shang was also very moved at this moment. It's so good, but we don't have enough strength to suppress the things inside. The Taoist sage shook his head and said, Xiao Shen, you were seriously injured just now, and we almost died. Senior, that's because we're not well prepared. Chen Shang smiled and said, if we set up the barrier before breaking the ancestral source, then it's still very safe. The main thing is that we're too careless. Quote, if you let the Six Paths Divine Mirror release the world-defying cosmos map in advance, even if there are powerful things running out, they can suppress those things in a short time. It's so good, but the bigger ancestral source of creation, the fate inside may be stronger. The Taoist sage shook his head and said, the bigger ancestral source of creation means that it will be more dangerous. World-defying Dan God Chapter 4837, Ancestral Destiny. Chen Shang recalled that ancestral Yuan person just now. If he was stronger, even the divine mirror of six paths would be difficult to suppress. You must know that the ancestral source of creation is still a very small one, and there are many great ancestral sources of creation in the Aoshi universe. Cultivation of fate in the ancestral source of creation. Did they cultivate it after they came to the world-defying universe, or did they cultivate it when they were in Yishan? Chen Shang was a little puzzled about this, and said, it shouldn't have been in Yishan. Is it from the cultivation of the Fa? When the ancestral source of creation was in another sky, the course should have changed. When I came to the world of the world, it began to condense the fate after coming into contact with the way of fate. The sages of creation said, the ancestral source of creation is very special. Pure energy, if it comes into contact with the way of fate, it is impossible to cultivate without fate. That's right, Chen Shang nodded and said, we need a lot of creation power to cultivate the lifestyle. The ancestral source of creation itself is the source of creation power, and there is a lot of creation power, which must be condensed into life. It's easy to do it too. There is also something similar to the space orb inside the ancestral source of creation. You connect the ancestral source of creation with the mother source of Yishan, and you can get more creation power from the source. Senior, I plan to cut another ancestral source of creation. Chen Shang said, let's find a small one. The sages who created Tao had marked those ancestral origins before, so he knew which one was smaller. The Taoist sage suddenly hesitated, because he thought it was too dangerous. He was punched through the abdomen just now, and he was injured, and the Six Paths Divine Mirror had cracks just now. Chen Zhang's hands were also badly injured, and it would take some time to recover to a good state. It is really too risky to cut the ancestral origin when they are not turning their heads very well. Senior, as I said just now, as long as we make preparations in advance and arrange the formation, even if we cut the ancestral origin, we can suppress those internal things in a short period of time. Chen Shang said with a smile, don't you want to see what's inside those ancestral sources? Maybe there's something inside that can quickly improve our strength and make us stronger. I still don't understand. Since the ancestral source of creation can cultivate a destiny, and it can also be transformed into a human being, or into some treasures and artifacts, why does Yishan not send people to guard it? Confuse. They may not know the internal situation of the ancestral source of creation. Chen Shang said, at the beginning, they just let the ancestral source of creation inject the power of creation into the universe of the world so that it is convenient to control the universe of the world through the ancestor of the creation. Maybe so. The Taoist sage nodded, then shook his head again, but it shouldn't be. Those guys in Yishan must have a deeper research on the origin of creation than us. Even if they didn't know it before, then should you know by now? Chen Shang also felt it was very strange. He and the Tao creating sages can only make various guesses now. There is also a possibility that they think that it is difficult for us to cut the ancestral origin. Chen Shang said, if there is no help from the Six Paths Divine Mirror, I am afraid that it will be difficult for me to cut it. Or, they can't cut the ancestral origin. Quote, no, they definitely have this ability. The Taoist sages continued to think, and then their expression suddenly changed, and said, could it be that they are transforming inside the ancestral source of creation to make the ancestral source of creation more dangerous? The stuff. Being reminded by the Taoist sages, Chen Shang immediately thought of the Xie domain. Xie Ziayu used to be a very terrifying thing in Yishan, and its origin is unknown, but now Xie Ziayu can be created. The demon soul star territory was transformed into an evil star territory. The former star territory where the 100 Flowers Temple and the world-defying temple were located was also transformed into an evil star territory, and was later stopped by Shen Yuanxin. Xiao Shen, what did you think of asked the Taoist sage. I think of the evil star realm. Chen Shang briefly talked about the evil star realm, as well as the scourge worms and Guiyuan fierce beasts he encountered before. The scourge bug and the ghostly beast are very likely to have come out of the ancestral source of creation. The Taoist sage said. As for the evil star domain, it is very likely that it was caused by the explosion of the ancestral source of creation. Quote, could it be that someone in Yishan already controls the internal growth of the ancestral source of creation? Chen Shang shuddered when he thought of this. There are quite a few ancestral origins in the world of pride. At present, it seems that only the seal is not enough. It is still safe enough to easily remove the ancestral origins of creation, said the sages of Taoism. It seems that there are still many secrets in the ancestral source of creation. Senior, let's open another one, Chen Shang said. This time, we will try to investigate outside, try it out, and see if we can see what's going on inside. Quote, okay. The Taoist sage finally agreed, and he also wanted to find out what was going on. I'll take you to find a relatively small ancestral source of creation. Senior, don't worry, we'll start after recovering from the injury, Chen Shang said. Xiao Shen, the Lord of Guiyuan is not simple, maybe he let a large number of ancestral origins enter the world-defying universe. While the Taoist sages were speaking, the Six Paths Divine Mirror had already started to jump in space in the direction he said. This guy is very dangerous, he is most likely in the Demon Soul Star territory now, Chen Shang said. Fortunately, he can't come out now. Xiao Shen, I have another guess. The Taoist sages suddenly said. You said that those ancestors of the world were the seeds. They were planted by Yishan and planted in the world-defying universe. No matter what, we must remove those ancestral origins as soon as possible, Chen Shang said firmly. I used to think that ancestral origins of origination were not a bad thing in the world-defying universe, but now it seems that it is very dangerous and must be gotta get rid of it. I'm afraid it's not that easy. The Taoist sage shook his head. The divine mirror of six paths quickly jumped outside a huge star. In this star, there is an ancestral source of creation, said the sage of Taoism. Xiao Shen, my injury is not completely healed, and it will take some time. Okay. Chen Shang immediately activated the time formation of the divine mirror of six paths. In this way, they would heal their wounds in the divine mirror of six paths for a long time, and it wouldn't take long outside. After they have completely healed the injury in the time domain, they will close the time array. It's time to start, said the Taoist sage. Well, we have to set up a formation. Chen Shang looked around and said, we have to get some more stars over here, and use the energy inside the stars to run the big formation, so that we can seal the dangerous things inside the ancestral source of creation. Xiao Shen, didn't we say it before, we have to study it and see how to see through the ancestral source of creation. If you can see through, you will know what's inside, said the sage of Taoism. World-Defying Dan God Chapter 4838, Chase Through the Stars. Chen Shang couldn't see through with Xinmingyan, mainly because the surface of the ancestral source of creation was covered with a strange energy, which blocked the penetration of the soul power released by Xinmingyan. For this kind of thing, Chen Shang is also not surprised, the bright eyes of the heart are not able to see through everything. After unsuccessfully trying to use Xinmingyan before, he has been thinking about how to see through the interior of the ancestral source of creation. In particular, there was an ancestral person popping up from the ancestral source before, which made Chen Shang more urgently need to observe the internal situation of the ancestral source of creation. In the end, after thinking about it, he felt that the only way to do it was to pass through the Six Paths Divine Mirror. Sister Jing, I discussed how to see through the ancestral source of creation before, you can use the methods I said to try it now, Chen Shang said. The mirror surface of the Six Paths Divine Mirror illuminates the huge star, and a strong soul energy bursts out. It penetrates the rock and soil on the surface of the star in an instant, and penetrates into the ancestral source of creation in the center of the star. But after some attempts, little sister Xiaojing did not gain anything. No way. The Taoist sage next to him shook his head and said, the protection of the outer layer of the ancestral source is too strong. The power released by my divine mirror of six paths can easily cut through the ancestral origin. It should be able to penetrate into it. Chen Shang was puzzled and shook his head repeatedly. What the asterisk is going on? Xiao Shen, why don't you try again? Can you cut through this ancestral source of creation? The Taoist sage said. I suddenly feel that there is a possibility that all the ancestral sources of creation are a whole. Before you cut open one, so now these ancestral sources of creation are on defense. It is indeed possible that these ancestral sources of creation have something similar to the space orb, and they can definitely communicate with each other in space. Chen Shang said. It seems that it is difficult to cut the ancestral source of creation, no way. It's as easy as ever. But it can still be cut, I believe you have a way. The Taoist sage said. The problem now is that we need to see through the inside of the ancestral source of creation, determine what it is, and then consider whether it is worth cutting open. That's right, now we need to pay a large price to cut open an ancestral source of creation. If it's not a good thing, or it's very dangerous, then the gain will outweigh the loss. Chen Shang also nodded, then looked at the star, thinking. He suddenly thought of a way, and then took out the Suzaku tenderness. Girl Jing, can you say that vermilion bird's tenderness can be extended indefinitely, enter the center of the stars, and penetrate the interior of the ancestral source of creation? Chen Shang asked. It should be possible, brother. Do you remember that Suzaku tenderness ***** the Zuyuan person before? And it was easy to penetrate into that guy's body and spread the branches and leaves. Sister Xiaojing said. Although Suzaku tenderness is a very thin thread, but it can also become very stiff and sharp. Chen Shang had killed a Guiyuan evil god before. That guy had a very strong and heavy sword, and that sword was smelted into the Suzaku tenderness silk. Then give it a try. Chen Shang controlled Suzaku's tenderness to grow longer. Is this Suzaku tenderness silk? The Taoist sage looked at the golden red silk thread, frowned and exclaimed, how did it become like this? When the Taoist sages were still the masters of Taoist creation, they were very familiar with the 6 paths divine mirror and the 4 signs divine weapon, but now that they are in Chen Zhang's hands, the changes have been huge. Senior, this is Suzaku tenderness. Chen Shang nodded and said, among the 4 divine soldiers, there are also Xuanwu Vajra armor that I haven't found. I don't know where they went. If I have a fate, I should still meet them. If you can't find it, just find those girls to retrain. The Taoist sage smiled and said, they are refined, and then you and the 6 paths divine mirror will be sacrificed and refined. After they grow up, they will be very strong. Every one of the 4 divine weapons that they retrained at the beginning is very powerful, especially now. If the Xuanwu Vajra armor is still there, they must have grown to a very powerful state. Chen Shang said, it's just that I am now. I haven't found it yet. If it's still there, I'll definitely be able to find it. The 4 signs divine soldier only recognizes you as the master. The Taoist sage patted Chen Zhang's shoulder. Suzaku's tender silk grows very fast, but it didn't take long for it to touch the ancestral source of creation. Chen Shang immediately connected the end of vermilion bird's tender silk to the 6-path mirror, and injected energy through the 6-path mirror. The Suzaku tenderness silk looks as thin as a hair, but it can transmit majestic energy inside. Of course, there is no need to send too much energy now, just send Sister Xiaojing's consciousness out and let her observe the internal situation. Chen Shang and the Taoist sages are now standing on the mirror, and the 6-path mirror has become larger, and they can also see the image appearing in the middle of the mirror, and they can see the inside of the ancestral source of creation. What is this? It looks like a very evil beast. The Taoist sage looked at the purplish-green thing, and his scalp suddenly became numb, because that thing was like a toad, and it was covered with all kinds of pustule-like things. It's very poisonous, Chen Shang said solemnly. If this thing explodes, the poisonous gas generated can cover an entire star field, it must be removed. By the way, Xiao Shen, what kind of state do you think these things are in inside the ancestral source of creation? Are they sleeping or being sealed? The Taoist sage asked curiously. It's in a deep sleep, and it's sealed at the same time. Chen Shang said. I guess, when these things grow to a certain level, they will be able to break through the ancestors of the world. If that's the case, it's too dangerous. What are we going to do with this thing now? Said the Taoist sage. Although this thing is the fate of the ancestral source of creation, but it is not the whole of the ancestral source of creation. Even if this thing is lost, the ancestral source of creation can continue to operate, and can continue to obtain energy from other heavens, and then distribute the energy to flow in the world-defying universe. Chen Shang analyzed. The question is, how can we not cut the ancestral source of the world and destroy that thing at the same time? The Taoist sage shook his head and said, if you cut the ancestral origin of the world, that thing will definitely explode, you know how strong it is. This ancestral source of creation is much bigger than the previous one. They were almost killed by the Zuyuan man before, let alone this terrifying beast. It's not too difficult, Chen Shang said, and then the Suzaku tenderness suddenly thickened, turned into a long tube, and continued to grow. Entering the end of the ancestral source of creation, plunged directly into the purple-green poisonous toad, and then the six-path mirror began to devour the power and extract the poisonous toad. That guy didn't wake up. Sister Xiaojing was surprised. Drain it, Chen Shang said. Suzaku tenderness silk can still be used like this. The Taoist sages were amazed. He also knew what Chen Shang was going to do. World-Defying Dan God Chapter 4839, Genai Road Species. Chen Shang penetrated into the ancestral source of creation through the Suzaku tenderness silk, and then extracted the energy from it. It's really strange, that thing actually slept so deadly, what's going on? Chen Shang was very puzzled about this. The sages who created the Tao could also see the poisonous toad motionless through the mirror of the Six Paths Divine Mirror. The big tube that Suzaku's tender silk turned into directly pierced the poisonous toad's interior, and was already frantically extracting the energy from the poisonous toad's body, but it did not make the poisonous toad move at all. I suspect that the consciousness of this thing has been sealed, or if the ancestral source of creation has not been destroyed, its consciousness will be difficult to wake up. The Taoist sage guessed. Anyway, this is a good thing for us. Chen Shang said with a smile. I just don't know if the mother source with the name Yishan will notice. The Taoist sage shook his head, but he didn't know. Senior, do you think we're going to see those huge ancestral sources of creation? Chen Zhang's face suddenly became a little dignified, and said, the gigantic ancestral source of creation, this kind of thing bred inside might be what is about to break out of the shell as a great threat to the world-defying universe. It is indeed a big threat. Fortunately, it has been sealed, and the growth rate of the ancestors of the world has also been slowed down. The Taoist sage said, when this poisonous toad is removed, I will take you to find a big one. Okay, Chen Shang nodded. By the way, Xiao Shen, where do you store these poisonous things after you extract them? Asked the Taoist sage. Senior, don't worry, I can purify these things. Chen Shang said with a smile, and I also plan to study this poison to see if it can be used. At the same time, I will find a way to detoxify and refine the detoxification pill. Chen Shang keeps a large group of ape demon dragons. These ape demon dragons are my favorite, and Sister Xiaojing is also responsible for domesticating the ape demon dragon in Ludao Shenjing. She will also help the ape demon dragon to absorb these poisons to become stronger. It took 3 full days for the six-path mirror to drain the poisonous toad, and Sister Xiaojing felt the power of the fate from the energy of the poisonous toad. That is to say, if it can be used, it can condense the energy of the poisonous toad into a destiny. The energy contained in the fate of the ancestral source of creation must be more abundant. It's just that this kind of life energy is not suitable for Chen Shang and Sister Xiaojing to absorb, because it is poisonous. But those ape dragons can. If the ape demon dragon cultivates well, it can cultivate a destiny. The energy is drained, and the bones are still there. The Taoist sage looked at the shriveled poisonous toad and said with a smile, Xiao Shen, your tactics are really brilliant. Leave the bones in there. Then how? These are all good things. Hee, Chen Shang said with a smile, and then let Sister Xiaojing run the space power of the Six Paths Divine Mirror and directly remove those shriveled bones. When it was moved out, Chen Shang and the sages who created Tao hid far away, because the skin and bones of this poisonous toad were poisonous. Brother, the skin of this thing can be used to make a poison talisman, and the bones can be made into poison needles. The toxicity must be very terrifying. Sister Xiaojing laughed and said, leave it to me. Chen Shang released the world-defying divine furnace, and stored the skin and bones in a space inside the furnace. Okay, Chen Shang is also satisfied now, and the harvest this time is not small. By the way, brother, there is still this thing. Sister Xiaojing used her consciousness to check the poisonous toad skin and bones under the world-defying divine furnace, and found something, and then took it out and gave it to Chen Shang. A round bead appeared on Chen Zhang's hand. It was the size of a watermelon, it was white and sparkling, and it contained very pure energy. This is, Chen Shang looked at this bead and was very surprised, because it has a very strong life force. What is this? The Taoist sage also widened his eyes and said, is this what's inside that poisonous toad? Chen Shang nodded, he didn't know what it was. Brother, the poisonous toad is the fate type, so this thing can't be the fate type, but it is inside the poisonous toad, so I guess this thing is the alien Dao. Sister Xiaojing said. And it's still very good. Alien Dao species. Yishan Taoist species. Chen Shang exclaimed. This is a very mysterious thing in Yishan. Xiao Shen, is there any difference between the different types of Taoism and the 6 types of Taoism? Ask the sages of Taoism. For example, if there is a corresponding type of Taoism, the practice will be twice the result with half the effort. You can practice without a type of Taoism, but you can practice it. It's exhausting. In the world-defying universe, Tao seeds can be naturally possessed, and can also be cultivated later. You can even cultivate 6 Tao seeds. In Yishan, there is a force that can control whether Tao seeds appear in others. Chen Shang said. That should be the biggest difference. Chen Shang stared at the Tao seed in front of him, and then shook his head again and again. What's wrong, Xiao Shen? Asked the Taoist sage. This Tao seed is too big and shouldn't be that big. In the world-defying universe, no matter what kind of creature, the Tao seed is about the same size. Poison Toad's Tao seed is obviously much larger than other creatures. Chen Shang said. And it has crystallized. Doesn't it mean that this Taoist species has grown in a special way? Said the Taoist sage. I suspect that this Tao seed has condensed many Tao seeds. Chen Shang said solemnly. The Tao seeds of otherworldly beings are not only controlled by others but also deprived of them. If the Tao seed is stronger, then all aspects must be affected, will be stronger. Chen Shang thought of what Ying Kuang said before. There are people in Yishan who want to become the new emperor, so plundering a large number of Tao species for himself to absorb, can indeed give people a power that is far superior to others. And now, what is the power that injects the Tao seed into the ancestral source of creation? You must know that these Tao species are condensed from a large number of Tao species. Senior, let's go to the next ancestral origin of creation. Chen Shang said. There are too many secrets in these ancestral origins of creation, and we have to figure out that so many things like this are in the world-defying universe. Even if they can be temporarily sealed, they are still hidden danger. Okay, the Taoist sage nodded. The Taoist sages mastered the positions of all the ancestral origins of the world-defying universe. Under his leadership, Chen Shang went to the largest ancestral origin of creation in the world-defining universe. The ancestral source of creation is located in the center of a star field, and it has become the core of that star field. If something goes wrong with the ancestral source of creation, the entire star field will be destroyed. Xiao Shen, that star almost turned into an evil star before. Although it has been blocked, it is still more dangerous after entering. The Taoist sage said. The founder of the world seems to have a little consciousness, and will use the star. Various forces in the domain prevent us from approaching. World-defying Dan God Chapter 4840, Superstar Head. Chen Shang looked at the center of the star field in front of him, and he also took a breath. Suddenly, he felt that it was not a good choice to go directly to the greatest ancestral source of creation. Senior, have you approached that ancestral source of creation before? Chen Shang asked. Although I can feel a strong oppressive force when I approached it, it was relatively calm because the ancestral source of creation was not sealed at the time. Said the Taoist sages, but after being sealed, they began to resist. Well, in short, entering this star field is very dangerous. Then let's switch to another ancestral source of creation. Chen Shang thought about it and decided not to go in first, because it was too dangerous. But Xiao Shen, if there is something inside the ancestral source of creation, then the ancestral source of creation is so big, and the things that are bred inside should almost come out. The sage of Taoism said, I'm just worried that it will appear. In this case, I chose the biggest one. That's right, but now you and I have limited strength. Chen Shang frowned. Go give it a try. Your 6 paths divine mirror is very strong, and you should be able to hold it down. The Taoist sages were really worried. Shen Yuanxin is in a deep sleep now, otherwise Chen Shang would not have so many worries. If Shen Yuanxin is helping to suppress, there is no need for the 6 paths divine mirror. Okay, Chen Shang also agreed to go in and have a look. Because the Taoist sages can find the ancestral source of creation, he is still relatively clear about the movement of the ancestral source of creation. Seeing that he is very worried that the ancestral source of creation will break out, Chen Shang also decided to enter this star field to see look. Go straight over. Chen Shang asked little Jing's sister to jump directly in space, and the 6 paths mirror carried them to the central area of the star field. After approaching the central area, the shield of the Six Paths Divine Mirror almost shattered. Brother, that guy is very scary. And it noticed that I was jumping in space, so it was prepared for it, and we were attacked as soon as we came. Sister Xiaojing said. Strengthen your defense. Chen Shang hurriedly instructed Sister Xiaojing, and then called out Suzaku tenderness. No, this thing is different from other ancestral origins. The Taoist sages also saw something. What is bred within it is about to come out, and this ancestral source of creation has two consciousnesses. Chen Shang said. One consciousness is the body of ancestral creation, and the other consciousness is the inner destiny of ancestral creation. This thing is too huge, the more internal energy, so it can get a lot of divine power from Yishan to break the seal. Although Shen Yuanxin's seal is very strong, she has been sleeping during this time, and she did not expect such a powerful force to break the seal. Although she would unconsciously maintain these seals when she was sleeping, she still couldn't stop it. Sister Mirror, it's up to you. Chen Shang could only make the Six Paths Divine Mirror bigger, and run the world-defying cosmos map to suppress the ancestral source of creation. After the Six Paths Divine Mirror released the world-defying universe map, a large number of astrological phenomena appeared in all directions, and then began to borrow some of the power of the world-defying universe to concentrate in the Six Paths Divine Mirror. The mirror shot down a beam of strong light and penetrated into the inside of that huge star. The star was shaking violently, but now it has gradually stabilized. It's amazing. The Taoist sages looked at the huge six-path mirror in amazement. Fortunately, this star itself has the sealing power of Shen Yuanxin, and the power of the Six Paths Divine Mirror at this time comes from the world-defying universe, so it is similar to Shen Yuanxin's power, which is equivalent to strengthening Shen Yuanxin's seal, so it went so smoothly. Brother, hurry! Sister Xiaojing shouted. Chen Shang immediately controlled Suzaku tenderness to attack. He can now feel that the ancestral source of creation inside this star is slowly expanding, causing the entire star to expand. It means that the ancestral source of creation inside the stars, something is running out. The Suzaku tenderness silk grew rapidly and pierced into the inside of the star. Because the star was too huge, and the shell on the surface was also very strong, the Suzaku tenderness silk was greatly hindered when it pierced. It must be successful, otherwise we will be in danger. The sages who created Tao also saw that there was something inside the ancestral source of creation that was about to break out of the shell. Well, I don't know what it is, but it's very scary. Chen Zhang's face was very solemn, and he was in control of Suzaku tenderness. Now he is constantly injecting energy into Suzaku tenderness, and the power of several of his own destiny has been extracted. The ancestral source of creation inside the stars constantly oscillates a wave of energy, and when Suzaku tenderness burrows in, it is also affected by this energy wave. Should be able to catch up. Chen Shang is also sweating profusely now, and the time is very tight now. If they can't stop the things inside the ancestral source of creation from erupting, they may be able to escape, but this star field will be completely destroyed, and it will even spread to other star fields. The loss of multiple star fields in the world will be greatly affected. The operation of the star territory is the universe's primordial heart self discovering a set of operating laws, allowing the countless stars within the star territory to operate by themselves, forming various astrological formations which can stabilize the entire universe. It is nothing to lose one or two star fields. If multiple star fields are affected, then the stability of the world-defining universe will be greatly impacted. Through it, Chen Shang shouted, and then connected the other end to the Divine Mirror of Six Paths. The Divine Mirror of Six Paths also injected energy into Suzaku tenderness. Suzaku tenderness instantly became bigger, turned into a huge tube, and then frantically extracted the energy inside. What is it? The Taoist sage asked quickly. It's a head, Chen Shang said in horror. It's a huge human head. Because this star is located in the middle of a star field, it is originally a huge star. Even in the core of the center of the star, it is much larger than other stars. A head exploded in the center, and it was terrifying to think about. Human head. The Taoist sages were also shocked. Is there only one head? I guess, after the head appears, it will swallow all the stars in this star field, and then grow back. Chen Shang shook his head and said, what is the origin of the creation of the world, and why is the fate that is cultivated? Such a thing. The huge star below them has stopped expanding now, because the energy of that head is being rapidly absorbed by the Six Paths Divine Mirror. I don't know, Shaoshan. I'm afraid that the founders of the entire world-defying universe now know that you pose a great threat to them, and they should all try their best to break the seal. Not sure. There is already a big ancestral source of creation starting. This is something that can't be helped. Chen Shang sighed and said, world-proud cosmos is facing too many bad situations now, and other alien universes are also coming in. As soon as he finished speaking, the star suddenly exploded, and then a beam of light was emitted. Something ran out. Do you like this sight? Donate here.